official World Cup coverage on SJ Radio.
So we've had another good day of football, haven't we? We've got Germany and Sweden on the way. The build-up and reaction from South Croatia or Croatian Republic and Mexico on the way. But I'm ready to kick off then. Belgium 5, Tunisia 2. And Korean Republic 0, Mexico 1. Wait, what's on? What was that saying? Sorry. It was Korean Republic 1, Mexico 2. So we've got one more game on the way for yourself. Germany and Sweden at 7 o'clock. We've got to build up to that on the way. And then tomorrow, 1 o'clock, England take on Panama. 4 o'clock, Group H. You've got Japan and Senegal. And then at 7 o'clock, you've got Poland and Colombia. So, let's get reaction from today's 2 matches. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll give you coverage of Germany and Sweden.
You are the chief and that won't change.
John, you know how it's been working for the duration of this World Cup. There's nothing private that goes on in those WhatsApp groups. Guys, thank you very much. Was that? Don't start with the threats, because guess what? I can say good night to both of you. We are going to continue to build up to Germany's match against Sweden in Sochi. It follows on from Mexico beating South Korea by 2-1. Pretty much a much-win game now for Germany in Sochi against Sweden. 7 o'clock kickoff in that one. We'll be building up to it after the BBC News with Lisa McCormick.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
Organisers say they believe more than 100,000 people joined a march in London calling on the government to offer the public a say on the final Brexit deal. It was organised to mark the 2nd anniversary of the referendum. The president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, claims an explosion at a political rally was an assassination attempt. There was a blast shortly after he finished speaking in Bulawayo. The country's vice president's been taken to hospital. The former Liverpool and Newcastle defender, Jose Enrique, is recovering from surgery to remove a brain tumour. The 32-year-old says it's been the toughest few weeks of his life. And Vinnie Paul, the metal band Pantera's drummer, has died. He was 54.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
There's slow traffic on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 13 for Staines and 11 for Chertsey. Also on the clockwise carriageway, traffic slow between junction 14 for Heathrow Terminal 4 and 16 for the M40. That's because of an earlier accident. 5 Live Travel, I'm Lisa McCormick.
5 Live Sports.
The FIFA World Cup Russia.
Trippier to take it. Maguire with the header. It's not in by Kane! Harry's done it for St George. He's won the opening match for England in Russia.
Next, England take on Panama. Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff.
That's what these games are about. It's a World Cup. You go into the last second and, absolutely buzzing.
Ecstatic when that goal went in. England deserved that.
The FIFA World Cup.
On 5 Live and across the BBC. Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
And coming up at 7 o'clock, we'll have live commentary from Sochi of Germany against Sweden. First, though, let's find out what's been happening elsewhere in the sporting world today. Lewis Hamilton will start at the front of the grid for tomorrow's French Grand Prix. Teammate Valtteri Bottas will start alongside him, with championship leader Sebastian Vettel in third. Hamilton has been speaking to 5 Live Sports' Jenny Gow.
Lewis Hamilton, congratulations, a 75th pole position. That's pretty impressive. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm often mixed emotions after qualifying sessions, because you go in with such. I'm still in the focus zone right now, so there was time left on the table today. So, in one sense, I'm very, very happy, really grateful for the opportunity to be on pole. It's a wonderful thing. And then on the other side, I left 3 tenths on the table, and there's not one driver in a single world in the whole world that would be happy of leaving that much time on the table. So I wanted to be further ahead, but that's because I'm a perfectionist, and that means I've still got stuff to work on, which is a good thing.
And when it comes to the race, those 3 tenths aren't going to count for anything. What matters is that you start in pole, but you've got your teammate Valtteri Bottas alongside you. What can you do at the first French Grand Prix for 10 years?
Yeah, I think tomorrow, I don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, but obviously today's been up and down, it's raining. So really just got to focus. I think the long run pace was quite good yesterday, but I think the Ferraris were also very good. So it really depends what we wake up to tomorrow. But I think it's really just about, should be a one-stop race. It's really about looking after those tyres, and I want this win so bad. I need it.
That was Lewis Hamilton with Jenny Gower. The race is off at 3:10 tomorrow, and you'll be able to listen to it through the BBC Sport website. England halted their losing run with a convincing 25-10 victory over South Africa in the third and final test. They lose the series 2-1 though, so here's the reaction of Eddie Jones with Chris Jones.
Look, the boys have worked hard on tour. We've said, they've been committed, they've put in, and there was a just reward for their efforts today.
You spoke to us on Thursday about how united and how tight this group is. Did a performance like that really show it?
I think so. Well, I think we've seen that all tour. We've put ourselves in winning positions in the first and second test, and just haven't handled big moments. Today, we got a couple of disappointments and we handled them much better, and that's what's called experience.
Yeah, and experience in terms of the conditions as well, and composure and discipline seem to be two areas where you were massively improved.
Yeah, well, that just comes from playing together and the leadership group being bedded down. I thought, senior players today, Owen Farrell, Joe Marler, Rob Shaw, Launchbury, Brown, Ben Youngs were absolutely outstanding. They were some of our best players, and in the previous games, they've been at fault at times.
So was it that collective group from the players with more than 50 caps in these kind of conditions in a game you really had to win to stop this losing rut? Was it those players that impressed you the most?
Well, Chris, we have to win every test. The expectation is that we win every test, so it wasn't exacerbated by the run we've had, but certainly you need your senior players to show the way.
You mentioned the run. How significant was this win, Eddie? Because that does stop the losing run. I know it was a dead rubber effectively, but to get that win after 5 straight defeats, how important was it?
Well, it's never a dead rubber. England's never won at Newlands. We've created history. Winning record in South Africa is higher than the average for England rugby. So, we're disappointed we haven't won the series, and we're in position to win it. But, we've got a lot out of this tour. I think we've brought along 2 or 3 new caps. Our bench today, no one had over 10 caps, I don't think.
Physicality-wise, were you at a different level today to the last 2 weeks?
Well, physicality, I think we've done well every test. I think we've matched them. We fell off a little bit maybe in the first 2 tests, but this test we stuck at it, and I thought, we probably had the better of their pack in the end of the game.
How tough a tour has this been for you personally, Eddie?
Every test is tough for England. It's a difficult environment coaching in England, but I love it. As I said this week, I've enjoyed the challenge of getting a side back on the winning position, and that's what we've done. Today I'm happy, tomorrow I won't be so happy.
Will this be a launch pad, do you think, going into the autumn?
We want to be the best team in the world, and you have to go through these periods to find out some things about yourself. We've done that, and now we want to kick on in November, but it all starts again. We get another 400 caps back, and we've got 9 or 10 club games to go through before we get the team together.
You mentioned how you want to be the best team in the world. That's been your stated aim for your whole regime. Has that journey taken a bit of a dent over the past few weeks in losing the series?
Oh, not at all. I think it's actually put us in a stronger position. I think this has been an absolutely important part to renew the side. You've seen some young guys come through. Your Williams, Curry have all come through. Slade have played their biggest test matches and have all shown themselves capable of playing in the World Cup. So I think it's been a great period for us.
That was Eddie Jones talking to Chris Jones. It'll be Marin Cilic against Novak Djokovic in tomorrow's final at Queen's. And after announcing that he'll play Eastbourne next week, Andy Murray has been drawn against Stan Wawrinka in the first round. England's women lost to South Africa by 6 wickets in the T20 International in Taunton. England are playing New Zealand. That's live on Sports Extra. They are 124 for 4, England, after 15 overs. And the Aidan O'Brien trained Merchant Navy won the Diamond Jubilee Stakes on the final day at Royal Ascot. And now we're building up to Germany against Sweden, following on from Mexico's 2-1 win against South Korea earlier today. This 7 o'clock kickoff looking incredibly important to Germany. We're joined by Archie Rintot, Dion Dublin and Terry Butcher will be part of our commentary team for Germany against Sweden. But in contrast to Germany's difficult start, Sweden marked their first appearance in the World Cup for 12 years by beating South Korea 1-0. A real contrast into the way that these two teams have started. Is there panic in Germany, Archie?
Yes. There's a lot of panic from the media at present. it's understandable because Germany just don't start World Cups badly. They don't start major tournaments badly. I think you have to go all the way back to Euro 2004 for the last time that they didn't win their opening game of a major tournament. So now Joachim Löw is under pressure. I don't think he's feeling it just yet, although this lineup that he's picked tonight, there are certainly a few surprises in there. Sebastian Rudy, for example, starting at the base of midfield instead of Sami Khedira. I think we expected a change there, but not necessarily that one. But the biggest one of all has to be that Mesut Ozil doesn't start. This is the first time since 2008 that he's not started a major tournament game for Germany, and he'd not even been capped then. So a few surprises. There'd been one or two talks about whether Germany would play a different formation perhaps tonight, but he's going 4-2-3-1 again, and I'm intrigued to see if they're able to break through the Swedish defence early on.
So changes in personnel for Germany then, Terry Butcher, but while Sweden did get off to their first World Cup in 12 years by beating South Korea, it wasn't exactly the greatest game we've seen in the World Cup so far. So what have we seen from Sweden?
Well, we've seen strength, we've seen a good defence, they are very strong, they are absolute giants as well when it comes to set pieces, so any crosses that Germany do put into the box, they've got players that can deal with it. Lindelof has come in for Janssen at the back, but Lindelof's obviously very good. We've seen him in bits and pieces at Manchester United, but they don't lose many goals. They don't score a lot of goals, but you know, if Sweden were to go ahead, Germany would find it very difficult, I think, to break through and break them down. So the first goal is very vital, obviously, for both sides.
Just something that Terry's saying there, I would pick up on the fact that Joachim Löw was talking about the fact that he didn't want to try and fling in crosses into the box for that very reason this evening. Some surprise in the fact that he's played Timo Werner this evening. Mario Gomez is more of a target man. Timo Werner is the sort of player that you would expect to try and run in behind diagonally, not necessarily the man who's going to scrap for the ball in the box. So I think that Germany are thinking about how deep Sweden are going to lie, and I think it could be a similar quandary that they've got to answer tonight. The fact that Marco Reus is playing, I think, gives them so much more creativity, particularly the form he's been in for Borussia Dortmund, so expecting him to make an impact. And a good story for him as well. So many injury problems that he's had in the past. In the 2014 World Cup final, he couldn't watch the celebrations. He went straight to bed because he got injured just before that tournament. So now he gets his chance to shine. I think it's a really important night for him.
The German fans in Sochi certainly look like they're enjoying their evening. They certainly look like they're full of optimism. On social media, Ross says Ozil and Khedira are dropped, but considering their performances, it would be more of a shock if they weren't. Hopefully Germany turn it around, says Ross. Paul said, but after seeing that Germany lineup, I'm going to predict another shock loss for Germany. What is Löw thinking? Haley said Sweden beating Germany 1-0 incoming, and Manfred said, can't recall a time in the last 20 years when Germany looked so vulnerable in a tournament. Can we judge them, given that there have been so many changes tonight, Terry? Can we judge Germany on that opening performance, or do we need to reassess them after this game against Sweden?
Well, I think you need to see what happens tonight. I think there was a slap in the face. There's no doubt about that for Germany. No German side has suffered back-to-back defeats at a World Cup ever. So they're with that at the back of their minds, but they're confident, and you know, I think that they want to put the record straight. They do want to set a marker. When we talk about markers, they do want to come out not so much all guns blazing, but play to their strengths. Joachim Löw is not going to change the system. They're going to keep on going, keep on playing the way they can play, because he has faith in them and they have faith in each other. But I mean, shaking it up. There was a great article in The Guardian the other day from David Hittner about this bling bling gang with Ozil and Khedira and one or two others, and it's for me no surprise, having read the article, that they're not in the team. I think he's gone back to basics a little bit, and he said, right, you know, I'm giving 7 of you another chance. Just go out there and show that faith in me, or give me something back as I've shown faith in you.
Is there an element of that, do you think, Archie, within that setup?
I think that the report which came from Sportbild, the biggest tabloid magazine in Germany, I think it was blowing things out of proportion a little bit. I put a little more credence on what Christoph Kramer was saying. The 2014 World Cup winner with Germany didn't do enough to get into the squad this time, but was talking on German TV, being asked whether there would be panic in the squad. Of course he's not going to say that there would be, but I honestly don't think that there really would be. I think there are not as many factions in this camp as there were perhaps in Euro 2012, when there really were, for example, in the Germany squad. I think that actually in this instance it that there's more panic externally because there is a week between the game and it's since the last game. It's in a similar situation with England, I guess. We have so long to talk about these things. There is a new cycle to fill, and I think that applies for the Germans as much as it does for the English.
What about for the Swedish, though? They've already beaten France, Holland and Italy in qualifying. Where do they stand, Terry? We've seen them win. We talked about their opening game, but we also know that they're capable of beating some of the bigger names in international football throughout their qualifying campaign. Jan Andersson, their coach, said, we're used to facing teams ranked much higher than us and getting the results that we need. We calculate these teams will have more of the ball than us, so we need our individuals to get their personal bests each time. Who are they going to look to make sure that they get the win tonight against Germany?
Well, Jan Andersson, the manager, he's forged a good spirit there. Remember, they had the spectre of Zlatan, didn't they, over the top? Over all things, and Zlatan's presence was there, even towards the end when he said he wasn't going to go to the World Cup. But they've had to get by without him, and I think they've forged a really good spirit. They're a tight bunch of players, a tight group. Larson in midfield, we know very well. But Berg up front, he got 8 goals in qualifiers. He's a big boy up front. Toivonen as well. He can move the ball very well. Ekdal, I mean, they're a powerful side, and they're so hard. They're so hard to break down. They got 2 banks of 4, and the front 2 work very hard as well. And they make it very, very difficult. I mean, without the creativity of Ozil in the team, at his best, he can unpick a door and unlock a door. Without him there's a big pressure on Royce and big pressure on Draxler in that midfield as well to try and do just that. But I think it's a good game for Sweden. I think it's great for them. Having won the first game, they can just sit back a bit and just say, well, go on and you break us down, we'll see what you got, and we can pick you off and we can get a set piece and we can probably score.
Jan Andersson's comments about this, being about the individuals, Archie, is kind of in contrast to the way that he came into this tournament, saying it's the post-Zlatan era. This really helps us. We are built on team spirit. And now he's saying, I want individual players to step up to the plate. Can that go hand in hand?
I think it can do, because you are going to need that certain bit of individual quality. We've seen it with some of the bigger sides at this tournament. Look at the goals that Luka Modric has scored, for example, Philippe Coutinho as well. You do need your individuals to shine within that, but I really think the point there about Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a big one to make. You need a balance in the side. And I think that without Ibrahimovic, they have more of a balance. They've got a few forces in the side as well that the Germany players will know well from the Bundesliga. I pick out that left-hand side in particularly, if I can say particularly another time, particularly looking at that right-hand side where Mexico caused so many problems on last weekend when they were playing against them. Joshua Kimmich flies up the wing, and you look at particularly Ludwig Augustinsson, who's been linked with a move to the Premier League, had an excellent season for Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga, very solid, played very well against Bayern Munich as well and against Thomas Müller this season, and Emil Forsberg as well, not had quite as good a season, consistently linked with Arsenal in the past. He was the top assister in the Bundesliga just the penultimate season ago, very dangerous on the break, so I would say that left-hand side is certainly a place to watch.
And we talked about the changes that Joachim Löw has made to this Germany lineup. We're watching the teams now lining up in the tunnel, coming out to and then maybe the pressure that puts on him, because while you may change a couple of players, and certainly there were criticisms over the way that Ozil plays, less so over Khedira, but certainly critics of the way that he played. Has he gone one step too far, do you think? Could this be a little bit too much of a gamble going into a game this big?
I'm surprised that he's picked Sebastian Rudy in that midfield. That's the one thing that really made me open my eyes. I think that the Mesut Ozil decision is as much to try and take the heat off him in the tournament. I think Joachim Löw with this lineup shows that he still very much believes that Germany will get out of the group. He is somebody who is a very cool customer. He likes to make his decisions at length. He's not somebody who is arrogant in terms of the way that he makes his decisions. So I think that he's just trying to go for the best balance in this side. He's really not trying to overload it. I think that the decision to pick Rudy instead of someone like Leon Goretzka, for example, or Ilkay Gundogan, as Manchester City fans have seen this season, who really is that little bit more dynamic than Rudy. I'm surprised in that sense, but I think that I would still see Germany winning this evening.
Well, that was the next question, because Sukia turned to say an early German exit seems unthinkable, but it could be the grim reality. Could it happen?
It could, because Sweden are exceedingly good at being disciplined and lying deep, and we've seen numerous big teams at this tournament really struggle to break that down, particularly when, as an international team these days, you just don't get as much time to build that sort of rhythm that you do at club football, being able to play so well as you can in terms of from open play. So I think that really has an impact as well. I think that Sweden do have the ability to cause Germany problems this evening, but it would be huge if Germany were to go out. They've never gone out at the group stage of a World Cup before, even when they were West Germany as well. So it would send shockwaves and would throw real doubt on Joachim Löw's time in Germany, because he only signed a new contract in May till 2022, so that would come under close scrutiny.
Well, Joachim Löw has made big changes to the Germany starting lineup for this match against Sweden in Sochi this evening, dropping Mesut Ozil, although after his opening performance against Mexico, not too many raised eyebrows over that decision. But will this Germany side be able to get past an organised Sweden side that we've been talking about here on 5 Live Sports? It's Germany against Sweden, and it follows on from Mexico's 2-1 win over South Korea. Germany, in reality, need to win this game if they are to progress to the knockout stages. Can Sweden stop them? Let's find out with our studio-based commentary team of Terry Butcher and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks very much, Kelly. Yes, we could be in for one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history. Very simple. If world champions Germany lose, they are out. If they draw, it will go to the final group match, but they'll need Sweden to lose to Mexico, and Germany would need to beat South Korea. Then it goes down to goal difference. So as Kelly says, it really is a game they really need to win. But first, the national anthems. Focused, concentrated are the Germany side. And now for Sweden. The yellow and blue flags waved with gusto at the Fish Stadium in Sochi, which hosted the Confederations Cup semi-final between Germany and Mexico last year. A young German side thumping Mexico 4-1 on their way to winning the tournament. Terry Butcher, it's been a very different story at this World Cup so far. Are you surprised at what we've seen from Germany? So big favourites coming into this.
Well, I think more importantly, Germany was so surprised at what Mexico did. Their tactics were something new, something different. They couldn't cope with them, and you look at the first half in particular, and Mexico could have scored a lot more. So Mexico on 6 points now. Germany would love to have 6 points. They'd love to have 3 points from the first game, but didn't get them. So they're facing a battle, and he's made changes, Joachim Löw. He's made quite drastic changes compared to what he normally does, and he's brought players into the team that actually do pretty well.
Yes, 4 changes in all, and as Terry says, 2 big calls in midfield. No place for Arsenal's highest paid player, Mesut Ozil, dropped for Marco Reus. Sami Khedira also dropped, replaced by Sebastian Rudy. Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger replaces Matt Hummels, who injured his neck in training, and Jonas Hector returns from illness at left back. Big call to drop Khedira and Ozil. Terry, is it the right one from Joachim Löw? Well,
he had to make some changes. 4 is quite. 3 really. That he's changed by choice. Obviously, Hummels had to change with the injury anyway. So, but he's still got a good experience. He's still got World Cup winners in there, and they don't need any telling. Germany have to perform tonight. They really have to win this game to stand a chance.
1 change for Sweden from their win against South Korea. Victor Lindelof of Manchester United also back from illness, back in for Pontus Jansson at centre half, and a big player returning for Sweden, Lindelof.
Yeah, he's good at the back, although Jansson's done pretty well. They're a big side. Just seeing them exchange handshakes with the German team just after the anthems, and the Swedish players were dwarfing the Germans, so there is a big threat on set plays. They know they're a compact unit. They know what they have to do. They don't score many goals, but they don't concede them either. So Joachim Löw's got a difficult task on his hand, as his Germany side are, but they're patient. They'll pass the ball. They won't change their game plan. They'll keep working away. And as I said, this first goal is so important.
Löw is looking tense on the touchline, as you might expect. If you were him, would you tell the Germany players the Mexico result, which means that really they need to win and certainly not lose, because if they lose, they will be out?
Yes, I would have told them. I think it's about being honest and about stark reality. They know very much they'll be hurting. When in 1986 we lost the first game and only drew the next game, and luckily we got a win in the last game. Germany can't afford to do that.
It will be Sweden to get us underway, playing in dark blue shirts, yellow shorts and dark blue socks. A huge evening for the world champions, Germany. Nobody would have predicted that they would be in this situation coming into the second match of the World Cup, but they are. If they lose this evening, they will exit at the group stage for the first time in 80 years. Toni Kroos picks up the ball in midfield for Germany, back to Antonio Rudiger. Germany playing in white shirts, black shorts and white socks from left to right. Neuer in goal, a back four of Kimmich, Rudiger, Boateng and Hector. Rudy and Kroos ahead of them, with Müller, Draxler and Reus supporting Timo Werner up front. There had been a suggestion that Mario Gomez would get his first start at a World Cup on the bench this evening. Germany coming forward down the left-hand side, cutting it back to Kroos in the centre of the park. Again, trying to build towards that penalty area. Toni Kroos, such an important player for Germany, and if he can keep things ticking over in that midfield, it will give them every chance this evening, as Müller's ball in from the left-hand side is out for a throw to Sweden, who have Olsen in goal. A back four of Lustig, Lindelof, Gronqvist and Augustinsson. Klaassen, Larsen, Ekdal and Forsberg ahead of them, with Toivonen supporting Marcus Berg up front.
I think for Germany, Rudiger at the back is a good replacement for Hummels, because Rudiger's quick and strong as well. Rudy in midfield is good. He's more mobile. Hector knows the position very well at left back, and obviously Werner up front, with Reus just out wide, but Werner up front to try and get in behind. But as we've seen straight away, Sweden just defending, all 10 men behind the ball. Germany pumping the ball forward long, trying to get a bit of joy, but they're just playing on second balls at the moment. Neither team's found their stride yet.
Here is Draxler outside the penalty area for Germany. Squares it to Kimmich on the right-hand side. Pulled back to Boateng. Already Germany so far advanced inside the Sweden half as the ball is swung in. Gronqvist blocks it. Werner pulls it back across, headed down in the 6-yard area, blocked on the line by Draxler. The shot was from, and Reus plays it out for a corner. How did that not go in for Germany?
Unbelievable. I mean, Gronqvist doesn't deal with the play. Kimmich whips the ball in. and it goes to the edge of the box, and it's actually headed back across. Good crisp right foot shot, but blocked on the line.
Corner taken quickly by Germany, but they are forced backwards. Tried the short one, didn't swing it in, and now have to build outside the Sweden penalty area. Goalless here on 5 Live at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. And Antonio Rudiger on the ball for Germany, square to Jerome Boateng. We expected this, Terry. Germany camped in the Sweden half as the ball over the top is chested down and driven back for Hector. Shot from the edge of the area, blocked again by Grankvist. And the Sweden captain already has had to be in the right place at the right time in his own penalty area.
Yeah, but he wasn't early on when he got beaten on the touchline, because the ball's headed back across. Draxler with the shot, crisp shot on target in the middle, blocked on the line, and then there's Hector up as well. They're playing some long balls forward. Sweden, with all their height, aren't dealing with the first ball coming in, and they don't need Gomez, Germany, because Werner's actually winning the ball pretty well, but there's good quality balls going up to the front men. Germany have started as if they really mean business today.
Well, that Mexico defeat will have served as the biggest wake-up call that you can get, and Germany full of intent, as they need to be this evening. And Sweden, as Germany have the ball just outside the centre circle, have barely had a touch.
Yeah, we're getting to the 4th minute here. There's about 2 Swedish players have touched the ball. There's a third one just gone out for a throw-in on the far side, but it's a good start by Germany. I think they've faced a barrage of criticism, and they want to reply in the right way, which they're doing very, very well so far.
Mikael Lustig, the Swedish right-back, has gone down, receiving some treatment as we see a replay of that earlier chance for Germany. And then the shot blocked from Hector. Positive start from the world champions. Here is Joshua Kimmich down the right-hand side. Swings the ball over on the left. Hector picks it up inside the penalty area. Tried to pull it back to Royce. Well intercepted by Seb Larsson on the edge of the Sweden penalty area. One-way traffic.
Yeah, Sweden camped in right at the edge of their box here. Both fullbacks, Hector and Kimmich, have seen a lot of the ball already. Getting up to support their wide men, but there's good diagonal. They're playing a lot of diagonals, aren't they, from right to left into the box. We've got Muller on the far side, of course, as well. Hector getting forward. Germany look very sharp and very hungry tonight.
Draxler's control just lets him down. It will be a Sweden throw. Grankvist takes hold of the ball as Jan Andersson, the Sweden coach, applauds his side from the touchline. Well, they put in a brilliant performance to qualify for this World Cup against Italy. Kept a clean sheet in both legs of the 1-0 victory in the playoffs, and they will expect to have to put in a similar defensive showing tonight, Terry Butcher.
Yeah, but they've got resilience, as you say. They've been there before against the top sides, but I would have thought that Janne Andersson, the head coach, would have expected a bit of a backlash from Germany, and he's certainly getting that, but it's a backlash that's very, very strong and very good. Sweden aren't seeing a lot of the ball, can't get out. They've not strung 2 passes together. Germany dominant.
Here is Rudiger at the back for Germany, over the halfway line to Kroos. Germany building down the left-hand side, 0-0. If Germany lose tonight, they will exit the World Cup. Draxler's ball forward is intercepted, and Sweden have a first chance to attack inside the Germany half. Marcus Berg, a striker on the ball on the right wing. Lovely turn in the centre of the park by Emil Forsberg, trying to get in behind the Germany back line. In the end, it's Thomas Müller back there defending, and Manuel Neuer comes to the edge of his 6-yard area and clears, and Germany can play their way out from the back.
Yes, Forsberg going down the heart of that German defence, did really well on his left foot. I think he must have nutmegged Boateng, I think, in the process as he went through, but didn't have the legs and didn't have the pace to get there, where there's 2 German defenders coming around to cover. But I think that's a warning for Germany, that if Forsberg does get on the ball, he's got the pace and he hasn't been direct. That's the first time Sweden have strung 3 passes together, but just shown what they can do if they pass correctly.
Germany coming forward down the other end. It's just kept in on the byline by Timo Werner. Pulled back to Joshua Kimmich, having to be patient, play it around the edge of the Sweden penalty area. Switch to the left-hand side with Jonas Hector, and now Draxler. Germany, of course, a side used to enjoying all the possession. They had the most of any side in European qualifying, 74%. Sweden will expect it. They'll have worked on it. The game plan to stop Germany, who are building again down this left-hand side. Draxler making a run into the penalty area, pulls the ball across first time. Well, it goes behind for a goal kick. It was an attempted cross, but in the end, the swerve on the ball didn't take it too far away from the far post.
No, great ball in behind that Swedish defence. He was struggling to get onto the ball, was Hector, in terms of getting his foot around it, and it ends up just coming off his toe across the 6-yard box. Olsen was scrambling across. He thought for 1 minute that was going to hit the post and go in on the far side, but luckily for Sweden it was about 2 or 3 yards wide.
We're just seeing a replay of that Emil Forsberg chance. It was Thomas Müller who was back with him, and Müller does have a little handful of Forsberg's shirt, which was waved on by the referee, just making the point to the Polish official Sherman Marciniak that perhaps that might have been a foul.
Yeah, it was but I don't think there was enough in there. I think there was contact, but if he's stronger, he goes through. A lot of players who lose the ball obviously claim things because they look a bit of a fool when they do lose it. But Forsberg was not a fool, but certainly had the opportunity. But back come Germany again. They're not leaving 3 up, Sweden, just like the Mexicans did. They've got everybody back.
Yes, and well they might, because Germany inside the penalty area. Marco Reus's ball across, and Timo Werner can't latch onto it in the 6-yard box, and the ball will go behind. But again, positive driving play down those wings from Germany.
Yeah, Reus getting there to the byline. It was a lovely ball. Germany have played more football in this 9 minutes than they played the whole of the 90 minutes against Mexico. They really are on fire. If they'd started like this against Mexico, then they would have won the game. But Mexico, as I say, were leaving 3 people up. So at the end of the day, a different tactic. This is a different team they're facing tonight.
Corner taken short, finds its way to Draxler outside the edge of the D. Receives it back from Toni Kroos. And Germany forced away from the Sweden box. It was the counter-attack that did for them against Mexico. Sweden will hope to work that into this match this evening. But so far, 9 minutes played in Sochi. Germany 0, Sweden 0. Sebastian Rudy plays it back to Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger, square to Jerome Boateng. Tries the ball into the penalty area, left-hand side, hooked back across by Müller. But in the end, the execution not correct, and behind for a Sweden goal kick.
Yep, the diagonal right to left again in force. Hector down that left-hand side. They've got Müller down that side as well. They're losing their markers, and particularly the fullbacks, Kimmich and Hector, are getting into some really good positions in the wide areas and are making those runs from out to in behind that Swedish defence, and they're not being picked up by the wide men. The fullbacks have got a man to mark, the Swedish fullbacks have, but it's up to the wide men to stay with their runners. They have to do that, but it's good movement from Germany.
Hector under pressure from Toivonen just outside his own penalty area. The decision goes against the Swedish forward, and Germany have a free kick as Joachim Löw stands tensely on the sidelines in his dark blue shirt. They've never failed to reach the semi-finals of a major tournament, Germany, under Joachim Löw, a run stretching back to Euro 2008. As was mentioned before kick-off, he did extend his contract last month until after the 2022 World Cup. Do you think that he could, as was suggested earlier in the programme, consider resigning if they did go out at this stage? I mean, he won the World Cup with them 4 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's the last 3 World Cups, the holders have lost their first, or haven't won their first game. So it's, it's not easy. But no, I wouldn't think that. He's been very good for Germany. To say his record stands alone. There's no better manager in world football than Löw. So I don't see any reason for him to resign. But here they come again, Germany.
Kimmich with the ball into the penalty area, just a miscontrol on the edge of the box. Germany pick it up again. The white shirts flooding forward. Kimmich had Werner on the overlap, opts to switch the play to the left-hand side with Kroos. And now Rudy, who's drifted into that left position just outside the penalty area. Müller will swing the ball in, cleared away by Sweden. But Germany pick it up again, and it is relentless pressure.
Sweden can't get the ball, can they? Germany are just making 8, 9, 10 passes at ease. Either Sweden push up a bit more and just try and go man for man, particularly across the midfield. But at the moment, is Germany just stretching the ball across, or passing the ball across, very comfortable. Now we've seen Sweden come out and win the ball. 0-0,
and this is where Sweden could be dangerous. It's Marcus Berg latching onto a loose ball into the penalty area. Neuer makes the save. Berg claims that he was brought down. Nothing given by the referee. And Marcus Berg is furious down inside the penalty area. Rudiger was back there defending as well. Play continues. We will see if the referee from Poland decides to refer it to VAR. The Sweden players have almost stopped playing. They're protesting. They can't afford to do that because Germany are down to the byline outside the Sweden penalty area. Still no reference to VAR by the referee. Play continues and Tony Kroos has it and Germany play it back just outside the centre circle. Well, the Sweden players were so angry about that not given penalty for Marcus Berg that they were standing in the centre of the pitch with their arms outstretched, still nominally marking their Germany players as Germany pass it back to the halfway line. Big shout for Sweden, Terry Butcher.
Yeah, Berg's not happy. Swedish players aren't happy, but they've got to concentrate now. This is where Germany can really take advantage. We'll have to have a look at that again to see if that was. Berg was through one on one edge of the area, being chased, and he went down very easily in the box, so we'll have to see.
And it's Berg now who dispossesses Rudy, wins the free kick for Sweden, and Marcus Berg takes the time to make the point to the Polish referee Sherman Marciniak that he feels he was brought down.
Yeah, and there definitely was contact. It was Boateng that was chasing him. He's got to pick his spot here, Berg. Boateng tries to come across and win the ball, and as Berg goes to play the ball, his legs are taken away from underneath him. He actually touches the ball, does Berg, but his legs are taken away from behind. For me, that's a touch, that's a penalty. I know lots of strikers, Mr. Sutton as well, who would someone, or Mr. Dublin, I'm not too sure, but a lot of strikers would go down there because the contact was made.
Well, this is why VAR has been controversial in this World Cup, because penalties, unlike offsides, are subjective, and we assume that a soft check was done, as they say, that the VAR team will have looked at it and not decided that there was a clear and obvious error from the referee. So no penalty for Sweden, and it's still Germany 0, Sweden 0.
Well, I think if they saw that replay, we've just seen the replay, they've obviously saw it, they saw it when in real time. If they see and have a look at that replay very closely, they would see that there's contact. Boateng does not play the ball, he plays the legs of Berg, and it interferes with the process of him having a shot. For me, that's a penalty. It's an unbelievable penalty. It's a stick-on penalty.
Hector clears the ball away for Germany, who for the first time in the opening 14 and a half minutes look a little rattled. So where has the breakdown come then for VAR not to pick that up?
Well, obviously the people watching it decided that it wasn't a penalty. I mean, the referee has obviously said, well, looks like he said, that wasn't a penalty for him. So I don't know, but we don't get any idea as to what their verdict is. It's just obviously their verdict is not a penalty because we're played on and it's not happened.
Sweden throw long into the German penalty area, headed away by Rudiger and picked up by Seb Larsson, who does well to shield it away from Marco Reus. Forward again for Sweden, looking for Toivonen. Boateng gets a head in, and now Germany can race over the halfway line. Here is Timo Werner down the right hand side infield to Julian Draxler, who turns and just slows the play down. But even though Sweden didn't get that decision, Terry Butcher, it will have given them a lift that they can hurt Germany at the back, just as Mexico did on the counter-attack.
Yeah, as like I said, they went and pressed high. It was Berg that started it. He went and pressed the centre halves. They won the ball back, and then there was a huge gap in between the German centre halves for them to run into. Germany had a very high line, so one ball through, like Forsberg got through as well earlier on. Berg through this time.
Muller's dink ball to the right-hand side of the penalty area, chested down by Kimmich, pulled back to Jerome Boateng, who drives a shot in, well blocked by Forsberg on the edge of the box. Boateng playing very high up the pitch, gives you an idea of just how much Germany have begun again to press Sweden. But they've shown with those two darting runs through the Germany defence that, of course, as we expected, that will be the game plan. But it remains goalless, 16 minutes gone here on 5 Live. Remember, if Germany lose this match tonight, then they will exit the World Cup. If they draw, Sweden would have to lose to Mexico on the final day, and Germany would have to beat South Korea, and then it would go down to goal difference as Timo Werner runs that out for a Sweden throw, level with the edge of their own penalty area. One other factor that will be influenced tonight by this result: if Germany don't win, Mexico will go through and South Korea will go out, as we see another rerun of that challenge.
Yeah, it does enough to put him off. It does enough to affect his balance and his shot. Berg, the Swedish striker, from the challenge from Boateng from behind, didn't play the ball, played the man's legs instead.
Sweden win a free kick just inside their own penalty area. Jan Andersson, the Sweden coach, on the touchline, as you might expect when that penalty appeal was made from Berg. Incredibly infuriated. Did a Leicester in Sweden with Norrköping, kept them up and then won a shock league title in 2015, their first title in 26 years. Now hoping to take Sweden through to the knockout stages in their first World Cup for 12 years. Ball into the Germany penalty area, pull back to Marcus Berg, important block by Boateng, and it goes out for a Sweden throw.
Good diagonal ball from Grönqvist, just inside his own half, from left to right to Lustig coming in the far post. He's big as Michael Lustig. Good, he actually got his foot to the ball, and it goes right to Berg on the penalty spot. Right foot, crisp volley, well blocked by Boateng.
Sweden throw into the centre of the park to Albin Ekdal. Forward down the right-hand side. Ekdal on the ball again, but well dispossessed by Kroos. And Germany can come forward. Here is Timo Werner, still just inside his own half, outside the centre circle. A slightly loose touch out to the right-hand side, but Joshua Kimmich does well, A, to keep it in, and B, to get past first Forsberg. Into the centre of the park, spreads the play to the left-hand side, edge of the penalty area. Marco Reus with it. And the green boots swings it in, looking for Draxler in the centre. And then the shot from distance goes behind. Rudy with the effort. Germany 0, Sweden 0. 18 and a half minutes gone.
I think it was Werner that was offside. Rudy just gets the ball down, probably about 24, 25 yards out. Crisp volley with his right foot, and it goes underneath Werner's foot. But I think the linesman had his flag up. Yeah, we're just seeing the offside there, and he was definitely offside. But if that's what Germany are doing at the moment now, being restricted to long shots, and Sweden will be quite pleased. I think they've got into the game after a really poor 5 minutes when it was all Germany. Sweden have got the ball, won the ball, pressed high, and put a bit of fear into Germany. But bear in mind, I think in the last 11 games, Germany have not lost to Sweden, so they'll have that confidence and that knowledge knowing that they can beat Sweden. But, Sweden have got them to lose, and 3 points from the first game. They're in a good position.
Poor ball into the Germany penalty area is claimed by Manuel Neuer. Only played 3 matches for Bayern Munich this season due to injury. Returned at the start of June against Austria, only 15 days before that game against Mexico. Hasn't shown any ill effects so far. They do have a incredibly capable second goalkeeper, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Barcelona's first choice keeper, who admitted that he was disappointed to be second choice in this tournament, even though you are bowing out for Manuel Neuer as Germany swing the ball into the penalty area. Olsen comes and gets something on it, and Sweden win the free kick inside their box just outside the 6-yard area. 0-0.
Yeah, Olsen just flapped at that ball a little bit, and it was Draxler coming in, and it went to Larsson, but the referee's given a foul. It was Draxler, I think, as I don't see nothing wrong with the challenge. Draxler just gone for the ball, but the referee claimed it to be a foul, but it went to Larsson anyway, so no problem. And, I said before the game that they would put some crosses in the box, and Germany are being restricted to putting crosses in the box. The movement, it was very good from Germany early on. That seems to have just died a little bit, because I think they're sort of saying, well, hang on a minute, this lot can actually play.
0-0, another long ball over the top from Sweden, chased by Marcus Berg. Rudiger gets there first and heads it back to Neuer. Interesting tournament this for Marcus Berg. He played at Euro 2016 as well without scoring. He scored 36 goals in 36 games for Al Ain in the UAE this season as they won the double. That is the same ratio as Cristiano Ronaldo for Real Madrid, but of course the question is, can he do it at the top level as well as for a club like Al Ain? This World Cup perhaps will provide answers. Berg has had Sweden's biggest shout, a penalty that was not given either by the referee or by VAR, and that's why it remains goalless as Germany coming forward through Thomas Müller. The ball shepherded behind for a goal kick by Ekdal for Sweden. Had a little handful of Müller's shirt, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and he gets a big embrace from his captain, Andreas Grönqvist.
Well, if he's a shepherd, I'd hate to be his sheep, because I wouldn't get any joy from him. He just shielded the ball so well from Müller. Müller needed a ticket to get back on the pitch. He was that far, well protected, wasn't he? He did really well. Just going back to the point about Sweden. Sweden played 3 games in the Euros, scored 1 goal. Well, they actually didn't score 1 goal because that goal was an own goal. So they don't score many goals, but they don't concede. You can see that rightly so, because 2 banks of 4. They've worked very hard in the first 5 minutes, but they're coming into the game very well now.
Midway through the first half, goalless here on 5 Live. Don't forget, we'll have all the build-up to England against Panama from 6 a.m. tomorrow with Rachel Burden live in Nizhny. 5 Live Sport on air from 11 o'clock. Kick-offs at 1 and will be followed by 6:06, so you can have your say. Germany trying to ensure that they do not exit the World Cup this evening. If they lose to Sweden, they will be out in what would be one of the biggest shocks in the tournament when you consider that they've topped their group every World Cup since 1990 and haven't gone out in the knockout stages since 1938. How much pressure does that put on a side when you have all that history behind you as well as the expectation of being the current world champion?
I don't think it puts pressure, it just gives you confidence. You know that you've got a team, you know you've got a history behind you, you know that you've got good players in that team, very, very good players playing in all the best leagues around the world. So it just gives you confidence. You're saying, right, it is going to happen, we will get there, but we're going to enjoy it in the process.
Klaassen dispossessed just outside the Sweden penalty area. Toni Kroos will win a corner.
It must be a nice feeling to have, isn't it? Going out there and doing that. Oh, wow. We just get a feeling of, we lose, or we don't make it.
So Germany corner, 0-0 with Sweden, who have come into the game more in the last 10 minutes after that racing start from Germany. Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger, one of the players in the penalty area. Müller is there as well. Kimmich lurking by the penalty spot. As the corner swung in from the left-hand side, well headed away by Seb Larsson. Poor corner, in truth, from Germany.
Yeah, but they're big, Sweden, and they have sort of half zonal, half marking as well. They have Gronqvist and I think Berg in there as well as in the space. They've got enough height and enough bodies there, but they've got two big guys that can be free. So it's going to take a special corner or a special set piece to find a German head, but you never know in football. Sometimes the more crosses you put in, the more chance you've got. But if Germany keep playing the way that they have been, or how they started the game, by short, crisp passes, and don't give the ball away, which they've just done, then they've got a chance.
Yes, Rudy couldn't latch onto that pass in the centre of midfield. Forsberg tried to sprint away for Sweden, but couldn't get a touch on it, and it's cleared away at the back, and Rudy is down, and there's blood coming from his nose. He has been hurt in that collision as he lost the ball stretching, trying to reach it, and the referee stops play.
Yeah, a lot of blood there, so he'll need a bit of treatment. I hope he doesn't get in on his shirt, because he'll have to change his shirt. Such are the laws of the game today. We've just seen a replay of it now. Oh, and he just, oh my goodness, whose foot was that?
It's Toivonen's foot.
Toivonen's foot.
As he hurdles the challenge from Rudy. He's trying not to injure the player through his leg.
He tried to hurdle him, didn't he? Because he got the ball and he's getting out of the way, and Rudy gets up and he stupidly tries to get up, and as he gets up, Toivonen's, I think his left boot catches him right on the nose. That's a really sore one. A lot of blood there now. So it was a good blow. You can see the blood pouring out.
Well, his nose is pouring with blood. It looks as though it could be serious for Sebastian Rudy, and indeed the doctor is making the substitution sign. There is a bit of blood on his shirt, Terry Butcher, something you know all about, of course.
Yeah, well, it is a white shirt again, of course, but no, he just go off and get that patched up. I'm sure they won't make a substitution now, but they're going to get some specialist treatment. They know what to do these days. I've had a broken nose as well as a cut head, so I know all about these things. Well, luckily all my injuries were to my head.
Joachim Löw on the touchline looking concerned, and Sebastian Rudy is very pragmatic there. He knows that shirt is gone, he's going to have to change it, so he just blows his nose on it to get rid of some of the blood. It's rather disgusting.
Well, I wonder if he's going to change that shirt with a member of the Sweden team later on. I don't know.
Yeah, keep it in the dressing room for half time. Yeah. You can have this one. So 0-0, Germany temporarily down to 10 men as Rudy receives treatment on the touchline and passing the ball around at the back. Sweden will have to upset their own record books if they are to win this evening. They haven't beaten Germany for 40 years, back in 1978. A win this evening would take Sweden through to the last 16. If Germany lose, they will be out. A draw will take it to the final day, but Sweden will be in pole position. And they're coming forward down the right-hand side, played back into their own half as that attack just checks. Here is Albin Ekdal, and Sweden happy to pass it around at the back. Obviously only 26 minutes gone at the Fish Stadium in Sochi, but at some point Sweden may start to think that a draw actually would suit them very well. Forsberg challenged by Jerome Boateng, given away. Sweden with the ball just outside the centre circle. Down the left-hand side for Ludvig Augustinsson. First time we've seen him make a foray and it's forced backwards. Forsberg, Ekdal, Grankvist has it just inside the Germany half. I've got a lovely story for you about Ludvig Augustinsson, Terry. I'll tell you after this Sweden attack, as they are building down the right-hand side. It involves an animal. There's a clue.
I wonder where you're going with this one.
Don't worry. Sweden with the ball inside the centre circle. Here is Lindelof of Manchester United. Good vision, finds Toivonen midway inside the Germany half. Picked up by Emil Forsberg, who's forced back towards the halfway line. And now Ekdal just inside the centre circle. Good passage of play this by Sweden. 0-0 with world champions Germany. Augustinsson swings the ball in. Will be met at the far post. Headed behind for a corner. Toivonen was up against Hector. And the last touch came off the German man.
Yeah, Sweden dominating possession now. Remember, Germany down to 10 men. Rudy still not back on the pitch. But good play, good switch of play from right to left. And it was a good ball into the box, and there was Toivonen coming in on the far post, but Hector did very well and deflected for a corner. But wonderful play from Sweden. You know, Sweden would probably feel, why can't Germany just play with 10 men because they've got better players than us? It'll be an even contest, but you know, Rudy about to come back on, I would hope.
Almost half an hour played. Sweden with this corner. 0-0. Grankvist lurks on the penalty spot. There is height in there for Sweden. Marcus Berg there as well. Corner swung in, headed away by Timo Werner. Germany wanted a free kick for a push in the box, not given, and Sweden have the ball inside the centre circle. So Ludvig Augustinsson, when he was playing in a derby for Copenhagen once against Brøndby, was taking a corner and some fans threw some dead rats at him. That is absolutely true. What's the worst thing anyone's ever thrown at you, Terry Butcher?
Abuse.
No animals?
Oh, animals? No, I've not had any animals thrown at me.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
If you go online and search for an image, Ludvig Augustinsson playing for Copenhagen, you get a picture of him, the ball, and a little upside-down rat by the corner.
Is there any reason for that?
Well, it was a derby, and apparently that occasionally happens in Denmark, but it's remarkable. You had to get that through the turnstile. Can you imagine having to turn out your pockets and you've got a rat in it? Bizarre.
You've just blown me there. I've
stunned you.
I'll tell you now.
I've stunned you, Terry Butcher. Well, I'm glad you've never had any animals thrown at you in your playing career. Germany coming forward, swing the ball into the penalty area. It's blocked by Mikael Lustig and will be out for a Germany throw. 0-0. And Sweden making this a more even game as we approach the half-hour mark at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. Germany still enjoying the possession, but Marcus Berg in particular will look back to that Sweden penalty shout that was not given by the referee or by VAR, as Germany are flagged offside, and it will be a Sweden free kick midway inside their own half on the right hand side.
Is Rudy? No, he's still not. We've just seen pictures of him on the bench. He doesn't look right, does he? He's got a big wad of bandage up his nose.
And he has thrown his towel to the floor in disgust, and the reason why is that he cannot continue. Sebastian Rudy, after that blow inadvertently from the foot of Ola Toivonen, which caught him on the nose, blood pouring, so he is off, and Manchester City's Ilkay Gundogan is on.
It's not a bad swap, is it?
Not at all. Marcus Berg with the ball inside the penalty area for Sweden. 0-0 with Germany. Here is Emil Forsberg. The left-hand corner flag, trying to dart past Joshua Kimmich, goes down. Little shake of the hands from Kimmich, and Germany will clear the ball away. 0-0 here on 5 Live. Remember, you can download the World Cup Daily Podcast, the #1 sports podcast. Tomorrow you'll get all the build-up to England against Panama with Alan Shearer and Didier Drogba. Sweden play the ball forward. Late challenge on Boateng is penalised by the Polish referee. England-Panama tomorrow, Terry. How do you see it going?
If England go about their job properly, I think England will win comfortably. I hope so, anyway.
Straightforward. Toivonen inside the penalty area for Sweden. Little dink over Manuel Neuer, and it's into the net. Sweden have the lead. A wonderful finish by Ola Toivonen, and is the shock on? As things stand, Germany, the world champions, are heading out of the World Cup. Germany 0, Sweden 1.
Well, that was a wonderful goal. It was Berg that got in between the two centre-halves. Already one change from Germany at centre-half. Hummel's not there, Rudiger's in, but the understanding between the two centre-halves is still very, very poor. Berg makes a run from the edge of the box. The ball is dinked into him on his chest. It bounces down in front of him, and before allowing the ball to drop down, he takes it really high and just dinks the ball over the on-rushing Manuel Neuer. A great goal, a striker's goal. A first goal for Germany. It's wonderful play. I've just seen the replay of it, and it's just absolutely delightful. It's a brilliant chip. Neuer's claiming handball, no chance. Off his chest it was, chested down, and then as the ball's rising, just dinks it with his right foot, gets a slight deflection, I think off Rudiger, and it just floats into an empty net. Wonderful bit of skill, wonderful move from Sweden. Now they've got something to defend. Now Germany have to get a goal back, and they're hoping to get a goal back quick, but the more this game's gone on, the more that Sweden look comfortable.
Well, he scored from the halfway line against France in the World Cup qualifiers, and what a goal that could be for Sweden. As things stand, Sweden heading through to the last 16 with Mexico, and Germany, the world champions Germany, who haven't failed to get out of the group stages for the last 80 years at a World Cup, are heading out. 33 minutes gone in this match, plenty of time to play, and Joachim Löw looks pensive, as he might do on the touchline. What does he do with this Germany side now? Glum faces, and it's the Sweden fans that are dancing in the stadium. The yellow and blue are bouncing. The Germany fans can't quite believe what they're seeing as Neuer catches that ball forward away from Marcus Berg and rolls it out to Boateng.
Well, Germany may have had 70% possession. We're getting that stat now, 70% possession, but they're 1-0 down, and they could be going out of this competition, as you say, after 2 games, just 2 games.
Kimmich with the ball into the penalty area, flicked away from Draxler, who fouls Lustig in trying to win that ball. He spreads his hands, the Germany man Lustig taking his time, staying down, and you can absolutely expect that of Sweden for the rest of this match as long as they lead 1-0.
Yeah, as soon as that ball, we're right in line with that ball, as soon as that ball went into the box, as Lustig on the far post, I had no worries whatsoever. Lustig would get his head on the ball, which he did. He was fouled in the process. But I thought we were told before that Germany wouldn't put long balls into the box. They wouldn't put crosses into the box. They put a stream of crosses into the box because they're being restricted to doing just that. So Sweden doing their jobs really well, and we're seeing the Swedish fans jumping about now. They're happy. They've got a long, long way to go, and you know Germany they'll fight all the way. They are the champions of the world. They've never been out at this stage of the competition before, let alone after 3 games. It could be out after 2. So they've got their pride to play for now, Germany. Perhaps we'll see the real Germany turn up.
Kimmich on the ball on the halfway line. I wonder if the concern for Joachim Löw will be that they did start well. They did have endeavour. They did go at Sweden, and they didn't get the goal, and Sweden did.
Well, they had chances as well, didn't they, Vicky? I mean, 2 opportunities for shots. Both blocked by die-hard Swedish defenders. But after that, they seem to have wilted, and that Forsberg chance, or half a chance, has obviously rattled them.
Ball cleared away by Sweden, out for a Germany throw. Arguably the biggest test of Joachim Löw's managerial career. He has never failed to take Germany to the semi-finals of a major tournament since taking over after the 2006 World Cup. They could be going out after 2 games. Kimmich's ball into the penalty area is poor, and that is where you see the pressure coming in, even for players as good as Germany's.
Well, another cross into the box. They weren't going to put crosses in, but it's another cross into the box, not good enough, going for a goal kick. Germany are rattled, you can see that. The Swedes are absolutely buoyant. The fans are going bananas. They've just got to keep their heads and calm down now. When you score a goal, you're very, very quick. You're very able to lose one back, to concede back, because your concentration levels aren't high. But so far so good for Sweden, who look comfortable. Germany haven't got that form back that they showed in the first 5 minutes, have they? They've been very, very poor in terms of a threat in the final third.
And that's it, isn't it, Terry? You would expect them to dominate possession. We know that they will do that. But creating those clear chances as Germany win a throw midway inside their own half, but they give it away almost immediately, and this time the throw goes Sweden's way, and Germany are rattled, trailing Sweden by a 1-0. And as things stand, with 7 minutes to go until half-time. Plenty of time to play, but as things stand, Germany are going out of the World Cup.
I know Berg up front has scored for Sweden, but he's been my man of the match so far. He's defended really well. He's been a pain in the backside to the two German centre-halves. He's scored an unbelievable goal. He's led that line really well and led by example too.
Ball into the penalty area, almost latched on by Toivonen on the edge of the 6-yard box, will be cleared away by Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger. Germany claimed the throw, but it's been called back midway inside their own half, and the decision goes their way in the end, not quite where they wanted it from, the throw. Time for cool, calm heads. They have plenty of time to get back into this game. Boateng over the halfway line, finds Kimmich, ball to the edge of the penalty area, backheel by Thomas Müller, just nicked away from Draxler by Larsson, and Robin Olsen has to be very quick off his goal line and clear that away out of the Sweden penalty area into the Germany half for a Germany throw, taken quickly by Boateng to Rudiger. Joachim Löw on the very edge of his technical area, just pointing where he wants his players to move to. Kimmich down the right-hand side, approaching the penalty area, swings the ball in, but again the delivery is poor. Forsberg will get it away, picked up by Boateng, who's just outside the Sweden penalty area. The centre-half pushing so far up. Back to Rudiger inside the centre circle. Germany 0, Sweden 1 here on 5 Live. Germany spread the play out to the left-hand side. Gundogan, Manchester City, who's come on. The shot takes a little deflection. Olsen saves it, and the follow-up goes just past the post. Germany screaming for a handball inside the penalty area. Well, it was a great reaction, save from Olsen, after the shot took a little deflection. Now the referee is not allowing the corner to be taken just yet. If it is taken, he won't be able to go back and look at VAR. He does now allow the corner to be taken, so Germany will not get a penalty. Corner taken short. Back to Gundogan. And now on the left-hand side, a little flick by Thomas Müller. Toivonen tries to clear, hits a hand. It's a Germany hand in the Sweden box, and Sweden have a free kick.
Wow, I'm just trying to draw your breath here, because that was a great bit of entertainment and excitement. Gundogan with the shot, 24 yards out with his right foot. I don't know if it gets a deflection, but Olsen only sees it late, but parries it back up into the air. I think that was Müller. The ball came off Müller. Lustig played the ball against Müller, and it beat Olsen at his near post, but just went the wrong side of the post. I think Olsen actually got a touch on it for the corner. But Müller's not had a shot at the World Cup for 239 minutes, even more than that now, probably about 270 minutes. But and he didn't really know much about that. The ball just hit him and went goalwards. But it was saved by Olsen.
Well, he was claiming that he was pushed, but there wasn't much in it.
No, definitely not. No, I think no claim for anything at the moment, Germany.
Absolutely. Well, it was the same as Neuer claiming for a handball, and Sweden scored. He did race back to try and save it, and then immediately said, oh no, it's gone in, it's a handball, but it wasn't, and that's why Sweden lead, and that's why Germany, the world champions, with 5 minutes to go in this first half, are, as things stand, heading out of the World Cup. Mexico and Sweden would progress to the last 16, so this scoreline, of course, will be music to the ears of Mexico, who have been so impressive so far, beating South Korea 2-1 today. And Sweden playing some lovely stuff. Ekdal forwards, looking for the run of Augustinsson. Has to check back. Now Forsberg on the left-hand side uses the ball out for a Germany throw. Trailing Sweden by a goal to 0. Here is Gundogan of Manchester City, all into the centre circle, but Sweden are pressing well. They're hassling and harrying the world champions, who aren't being allowed to settle on the ball. Now they drop back. Blue shirts with the yellow trim, camped around the edge of their own penalty area, keeping Germany at bay. What can Marco Reus do? Swings the ball in. Attempted back heel in the centre from Timo Werner. Misses it around the penalty spot, and Seb Larsson clears away for Sweden. Nice bit of improvisation from Werner had it come off.
And all the old boys are doing well. Lustig, Granqvist, Larsson, Berg, Toivonen, all the old guys. They've been the star players so far. They're leading by example. The younger ones are doing a great job. Sweden now hard to break down, and I said before the start, the first goal would be vital because it gives Sweden something to hang on to. They like defending leads. That's what they do very well.
Kimmich down the right for Germany. Options in the penalty area, swings it in, it's flicked away on the penalty spot, and Sweden win another free kick inside their own penalty area. The Polish referee Sherman Marciniak seems minded to err on the side of the defenders, shall we say, in those situations. Draxler on Lustig.
Well, there's nothing wrong with erring on the side of the defenders. I quite like that.
Of course not, Terry.
It was a definite foul by Draxler. He's got his arm into the back of Lustig. Lustig's always going to beat him in the air anyway, so that's a complete mismatch. But as Lustig heads the ball, just before he heads the ball clear, puts his arm into his back, that's a foul. A bit of desperation from Germany, I feel, at the moment. They need something special before half-time if they can.
2.5 minutes to go until the break. Germany 0, Sweden 1. And the concern for Germany, and the positive for Sweden, not only are they ahead, but they were coming more into the game before that goal as well. Germany already was starting to lose some of their early dominance, and they're struggling to get back into this now. On the ball, down the right-hand side, Kimmich cleared away. A lot is coming down that right-hand side for Germany, but at the moment Kimmich, the young right-back, not able to find the delivery.
Royce is particularly quiet. Hector's not really touched the ball very much in the last 10 or 15 minutes. So it's, once again it comes down the right-hand side.
Boateng plays it from the right into the centre. Royce trying to turn away from the challenge of Ekdal. Larsson and Ekdal between them get it away, and Sweden can counter-attack. Forsberg, space for inside the penalty area, will fall on the right-hand side to Klaassen, but he's dispossessed inside the box, and Germany clear away. And Terry Butcher, good chance for Sweden. Germany have their own counter-attack over the halfway line, trailing Sweden 1-0, but the ball forward has too much on it for Royce. Sweden will win it back in the right-back position, and Grönqvist will play his way out of danger. Square to the right-hand side, long ball over the top. Too much on it. Neuer will collect, but again Sweden causing problems. This time it's Klaassen on the break.
What a great break as well from Forsberg down the left-hand side. He could have played it inside earlier. He played it right to the far post, and there was Klaassen coming in, tried to cut it back onto his left foot, and it was well blocked by the German defender. But wow, what a chance that was! And they've had chances in this game, more chances than Germany of Sweden. So you have to say they deserve their lead.
30 seconds of the first half plus added time to play. Germany 0, Sweden 1. As things stand, Germany heading home from the World Cup after only 2 games. Kimmich with the ball on the right-hand side. Werner wants it in the centre, back to Boateng, again lurking outside the box, tries the shot, dragged wide of Olsen's near post.
Was that me, or did Olsen just really go too far to the right? And Boateng coming in luckily on his weaker foot. He tries to scoop it round the corner, a bit like a hook in a golf shot at the near post, and Olsen was scrambling across his goal. Had that been a harder shot or a left-footed player, then he actually showed about 6 or 7 yards at that near post. So, wow, my heart was in my mouth, but luckily the shot was wide.
Well, he's only scored once for Germany, Jerome Boateng. Too far away there, as Terry says, good vision to spot the gap, the movement from Olsen to expose that part of the goal. Sweden with the lead heading into injury time. 2 minutes to be played at the end of this first half. Boateng really is taking up a midfield role on that right-hand side. Plays it back outside the centre circle to Toni Kroos. Germany just looking a little uncertain as to how to work the angles, how to try and play through this well-organised Sweden defence. Sweden get lucky with the ricochet off Kimmich as that ball was played forward, and it goes out for a Sweden goal kick, leading Germany by 1-0.
Well, the Sweden back four camped on the edge of their box, sometimes dropping a yard or two inside. It brings the midfield back. There's good distance between the midfield and the back four, and the runners coming in and out, and there's less and less runners the more this game has gone on. Lots of runners in the first few minutes, not so much now. Germany's passing hasn't been good, and any slight miscontrol, any slight poor pass, and Sweden are onto it straight away. But they know as well they've got Berg up there, and they've got Forsberg as well, and they can actually pass their way out of it. It's not as though they're lumping the ball long and just defend, a little bit like Iran were the other night. There's a lot more to Sweden than just defending.
20 seconds to play of the minimum 2 added on at the end of this first half as Klaassen needs a free kick for Sweden, challenged by Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger. Wide on the right-hand side, swung in and headed so that Neuer has to make the save. The corner is prevented, and Sweden coming so close to adding a second just before the break.
Yeah, once again it was Berg. It was going in as well. Great camera angle, just going in at the far post. Half time's just gone, but it could well have been, but for that save, it could well have been 2-0. Sweden have been absolutely tremendous. I mean, after the first 5 minutes, you sort of feared for them, but they've been absolutely tremendous and thoroughly deserved this 1-0 lead.
Well, could we see one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history? As things stand, world champions Germany are going out of the World Cup. Half-time at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. Germany 0, Sweden 1.
So just to run you through the table then, as it stands at half-time, Mexico top with 6 points, Sweden would be second with 6 points, Korea in third with no points, and Germany, as things stand, at the bottom without a point from their opening 2 games. It is only half-time, but in 3 of the last 4 World Cups, the holders have gone out at the group stage. Archie Rintut is here in the studio. Archie, do Germany have what it takes to come back into this game?
Yes. Whether they do, that's a completely different question. And to
have
see
they shown
somebody...
that they can in the past?
No, they haven't. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 2008 for the last time that they went behind in a major tournament game and came back to win. That was against Turkey in the Euro 2008 semi-finals. Jogi Löw's first major tournament in charge. How distant that will feel right now, because going behind twice in the same major tournament, he's not somebody who's renowned for being able to change a game in terms of with his tactics. He had a very painful experience in the Euro semi-finals in 2012 where he took a lot of flack. So now, particularly after one of his best players, Toni Kroos, probably one of the most irreplaceable players in that squad, makes such a key error there, allowing Sweden in for that goal. It's a huge half-time for Germany, particularly given that post-war they've not been knocked out in the group phase of a World Cup.
VJ says, what a goal. Germany can keep the ball for 90% of the time. 10% is enough for Sweden. David said Sweden deserved the lead. Germany looked lost. Germany stunned, says Craig. Sweden in dreamland. One close to the last 16, the other close to being knocked out, and not the way round we thought. Unbelievable, says Jay. So many of the favourites showing vulnerabilities. This really could be anyone's tournament. Sweden deserved the goal, said Ash. Andrew says Germany doing their best England impression so far at the World Cup. And Lavina says, let's who the media and ex-German players will blame this time out, because it seems that Ozil was the problem. It started, Archie. We pointed this out before the game. He makes the changes. If it doesn't come off, it will be Löw's decisions that are scrutinised.
I'm quite happy for Mesut Ozil because he really deserves a break, and it shows that actually the problems this evening in comparison to the Mexico game, I think what we've seen in the first half is that Sweden are a better side defensively than Mexico, and we see that Germany have lost the ball actually further inside their own half. That's what's been happening. That's what's caused these Swedish breaks. They could have gone one up, obviously, through Marcus Berg earlier in the first half. Perhaps unfortunate not to get a penalty as well. So we're seeing these same counter-attacking opportunities, a little less of them than the Mexico game. I guess that is an improvement for Joachim Löw. We see the impact that Jonas Hector is making on that left-hand side, but a very worrying time. I think that such is the way that they're not really creating all that many chances. Only Julian Draxler, I would say, has had a properly clear-cut chance in that first half, and that came just a couple of minutes in. I think that it's going to take a change of system perhaps for Joachim Löw to try and surprise the Swedes, because otherwise they are anticipating everything, and they don't want to leave the possibility that Sweden and Mexico only have to draw that final game, or Sweden only need a point from that final game to go through. So they have to win.
Germany have to win. They have 45 minutes, the world champions, to stay in this year's World Cup. Sweden, though, could be heading to the knockout stages if the result stays the same. Sweden 1-0 up at half-time in Sochi. We will return for the second half after the BBC News with Lisa McCormick.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
Tens of thousands of people have marched through London demanding the public gets a vote on the final Brexit deal. Some leading Brexiteers have dismissed the rally, saying the referendum already showed the majority were in favour of leaving. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa says an explosion at a political rally was an assassination attempt. There was an explosion as he finished speaking in Bulawayo. The Vice President was injured. It's been reported that police in Manchester didn't intervene when they saw a child going into the home of a suspected paedophile in order to protect their undercover surveillance operation. Greater Manchester Police says an investigation cleared the officers involved in the incident, and it took place 7 years ago. And volunteers who run a food bank in Bournemouth say they've had a month's worth of supplies donated to help struggling families stolen. Hope for Food's base was also trashed in the break-in. The intruders caused £3,000 worth of damage.
F1. If you do want to turn the PU down, it will be HPP 7 to position 8. I'll leave that up to you. They're still live, in tracking the space. So we'd like to hear, mate, you go for it. No, they're not still waving the checkered flag when it's not done yet. He can see the checkered flag again. Sebastian Vettel wins the Canadian Grand Prix and he takes the championship lead.
Next, the French Grand Prix. Coverage starts from 3 on Sunday afternoon.
F1 on 5 Live.
Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
And in Russia this evening, Sweden are leading the world champions Germany by 1-0 in Sochi. We'll have the second half coming up. Germany have only ever lost consecutive World Cup games once before, and that was in 1958. It's the longest they've gone without scoring from the start of a World Cup. The previous record was 135 minutes. In 1962. These records are long-standing. In the modern format of the World Cup, Germany have never gone out at the group stages. Can they turn things around? We will rejoin our commentary team for the second half of that game in Sochi, with Sweden leading Germany by 1-0 at half-time. Elsewhere today, England halted their losing run with a 25-10 victory over South Africa in the third and final test. Danny Cipriani had a fairly quiet day on his first international start for a decade, until a superb late kick to set up England's only try. He's been speaking to Chris Jones.
Danny, many congratulations. How good was it? Not just to play, but to start and get a full 80 under your belt.
Yeah, it's always great to start and represent your country. I was very proud, and in the moment I really tried to savour it and think about people that have helped me to get there, my mum, Steve Black, Margot Wells, all these type of people. So I felt very grateful to be out there, and to get the win was obviously the icing on the cake.
Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. There was moments when I was, and then I was just trying to visualise throughout the game what I wanted to do and how I wanted to play out there. I realised it wasn't really a day for you to show your skill set, but within it I tried to stick to the team plan and structure, and then when I had a moment, try and do something which might benefit the team.
Yeah, was that where your experience, Danny, 10, 12 years as a professional, came into play with these kind of conditions?
Yeah, for sure. Even when I was younger, if it was raining like this, we'd still try and get the same game understanding. But the more you play, the more you train. As a fly half, the more you have that coach's head on your shoulders, so you realise conditions, we play to it, and we've got to make sure we stay on top of them. And I can't fault the boys' effort; it was outstanding.
Yeah, was that the key thing? Playing 80 and starting a game for you is one thing, but to get the win as well?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. But I mean, just what this last 4 or 5 weeks has been, what I've learned from it, and been able to train with these players and feel like I've become a better player, and then see what happened for this group today. That was just reward for this entire group, this win today.
And just finally, Daddy, how much do you want to stay in this setup now and be involved in the autumn, start in the autumn? You don't want to wait another 10 years for that next start, do you?
Well, I'll be 40 years old. I don't want to wait another 10 years. Hopefully my performance showed how much it meant to me. There's a lot more hopefully that can come, and I've loved every moment being in this squad. I've learned a lot, and I fully, I've got to do everything I can to make sure I stay within it. I've got to have a good off-season, got to keep fit, got to come back fit, got to start the season well. I know the whole process, so I'm looking forward to it.
That was Danny Cipriani speaking to Chris Jones. Lewis Hamilton will start tomorrow's French Grand Prix from pole position. Championship leader Sebastian Vettel qualified third fastest. Having lost to South Africa earlier, England's women are now playing New Zealand in the Tri-Series. That's live on Sports Extra. New Zealand are chasing 173 to win. They're 80 for 5 after 12 overs. It'll be, as they race along the streets of Moscow outside the studio, it'll be Marin Cilic against Novak Djokovic in tomorrow's final at Queen's. That really should have happened during the F1 news. And the Aidan O'Brien trained Merchant Navy won the Diamond Jubilee Stakes on the final day at Royal Ascot. We will have all the build-up to England against Panama from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning with Rachel Burden. She's live in Nizhny, and 5 Live Sport will be on air from 11 o'clock. Kick-off at 1. You can watch the game on BBC One and listen to the 5 Live commentary at the same time, just by pressing the red button on your TV. A couple of hours ago, Gareth Southgate gave his pre-match press conference, and this is what he had to say.
history is not the important thing for this team. They have an opportunity to create their own history, and they should be excited about that. You know, they're a young team who are going to get better and better. I really enjoy working with all of them, and I'm intrigued to see how far they can go and how well they can play, because I think we saw moments of that the other night, and we've got to continue that and keep pushing and driving to be as good as we can be.
Gareth, how big a threat do you think Panama represents? Are you braced for a physical battle tomorrow? And you now know that if you win, you'll be in the last 16 of the World Cup. Do you use that as motivation and remind your players of that and use it, or do you put that to one side and not get too carried away and forward thinking?
Yeah, I think every team in the tournament, we've seen already that the difficulty big countries in terms of rankings have had in breaking down lower ranked teams. That's been a theme right the way throughout. So there's no way there's any complacency in the way that we've prepared for the game. The situation in the group obviously is a healthy one for us, but we've got to focus on our performance, and I always talk to the players about what are the things we can control. You know, we control our preparation, we control how we want to attack the game. You know, we still want to play in the style that we came into this tournament. Nothing's changed in my view. We're a team who are hungry. We want to improve. We want to show people that an England team can play in a different way. We've got technically good players. We want them to get on the ball and express themselves and really attack the game as we did from the opening minutes of the game the other night. So equally, we've got to play with intelligence and keep improving all the way through. So they're the things that are important ahead of tomorrow's game.
That was Gareth Southgate with Dan Rowan, and the 5 Live World Cup Daily is available tomorrow morning, all the build-up to England against Panama. Mark Chapman joined by Didier Drogba and Alan Shearer in that one. Belgium already have 6 points in England's group after they beat Tunisia 5-2. Lukaku and Hazard scored 2 each. Here's the Belgian manager, Roberto Martinez.
So I think Tunisia today, they had to win, and I think that helped the game. Obviously, it's allowed us to have a lot of space, and it was a game that you had to defend well, and then you had to be clinical up front, and clearly that suited our play, but there's many things that we need to improve and get better.
If England do beat Panama tomorrow and you're both on 6 points, might you be tempted to rest players for that final group game? How would you approach that?
Well, we need to, yes. The idea is to look after everyone individual. I think in a tournament like the World Cup, you learn very quickly to do that. We got 3 knocks. Today probably the only negative is that we lost maybe Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard is feeling his calf, and maybe we need to assess Dries Mertens. So it is an opportunity to refresh the starting lineup. In a World Cup, unless you got 23 players that already contribute, I think you're going to find it very difficult. And when you are qualified, I think it's an opportunity now to share that responsibility.
That was Roberto Martinez speaking earlier. We've had lots of social media in on Germany, who are trailing Sweden by 1-0 in Sochi this evening. It means that Germany would be heading out of the World Cup after the group stages for the first time in the World Cup as we know it. David said Leroy Sané's international career looks a lot more promising than it did a few weeks ago. Will says not taking Sané is criminal and might cost Joachim Löw his job. Archie Rintut is here in the studio in Red Square. Archie, we're talking about Leroy Sané, the importance of him to Germany, the big decision not to bring him to this World Cup. If things continue as they are for Germany, that is a question that's going to be asked. That is another stick to beat Joachim Löw with, isn't it?
It is, but I don't think it's the answer. I think it's much more in terms of to do with the team here. I don't think this is a situation that Leroy Sané could have solved, because we've seen him in a Germany shirt so far and he's been idealist. He's not been able to fit into the Joachim Löw way of playing. So at the moment, I can't see anyone using Sané as a stick to beat him with.
Aaron says this World Cup group stage so far has been amazing. Both 2014 finalists staring down the barrel of an early exit. Uruguay and France making hard work of getting into the next round, and Russia look the best team at the tournament so far. Kyle said if Germany turn this around tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did, they still need to improve massively, especially defensively. There are shambles at the back. Mexico and Sweden both could easily have scored 4 goals each against them. Well, Germany are making changes at half-time. It's 2008, the last time they managed to come back and turn a game around in a major tournament. We'll find out if they can do it now in Sochi. It's Germany 0, Sweden 1. With news of a change for Germany, your commentary team studio-based tonight, Terry Butcher and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Kelly. Yes, Mario Gomez is on for Julian Draxler for Germany at half-time. Gomez, who missed out on their World Cup win back in 2014 after an injury-plagued season with Fiorentina. There were reports that he was going to start this game. It would have been the first time he started a World Cup match. He is on at half-time as Germany get us underway. Terry Butcher, the right substitution from Joachim Löw.
Well, we should see, but he needs a bit of height up there. They are putting balls into the box. Sweden comfortably heading balls away, so Gomez's presence, he's more than just a big lump of a striker. He's got a lot about him as well, and he'll be hungry. But they'll be determined. A lot of determined faces in that tunnel from the German players. You can see them coming back into the game because you never ever write this German team off. But they'll need something. They need to be patient because it's going to be a strong rearguard action from Sweden as it was early on. But they also know Germany that they can come out.
One of the biggest 45 minutes in the history of German football. They have 45 minutes to keep themselves in the World Cup. Germany playing from right to left in the second half. The white shirts, black shorts and white socks with the ball on the halfway line. Neuer in goal, Kimmich, Rudiger, Boateng and Hector. Gundogan, who came on in the first half after Rudy was injured, and Kroos in the centre with Müller. Sweden in blue shirts, yellow shorts and blue socks. No chasings at half-time. Olsen, who made a brilliant save in the first half, in goal. Lustig, Lindelof, Gronqvist and Augustinsson, the back four. Klaassen, Larsen, Ekdal and Forsberg in the middle with Berg, and the goal scorer Toivonen up front as Sweden clear it away at the back through Lustig, only as far as Toni Kroos. Out to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Ball swung in, looking for Timo Werner. Headed away by Lustig for Sweden. And Germany have it just outside the centre circle. Rudiger sends it all the way back to Neuer. What will Joachim Löw have said to his players at half-time, Terry Butcher?
Well, I think he would just say, keep playing your game. It will happen. Start off like he did the first half. We've got Gomez on now as a target. Germany already in their stride, looking to put crosses in the box, and another one comes in.
And it's fizzed in, cleared away at the back for Sweden by Gronqvist. Well, Germany started the first half very well. They started the second half in possession, as you'd expect. Plenty of pressure on that Sweden back line, which so far has stood firm. What can Timo Werner do? Down the left-hand side, ball into the penalty area, edge of the 6-yard box, and it's tapped in! And Germany have their equaliser. Marco Reus converting from close range, and that is the start to the second half that Joachim Löw needed. Germany 1, Sweden 1.
Yes, he punches the air as the German head coach, and it's a soft goal from Sweden's point of view, but this time it wasn't a long looping cross into the box. It was fizzed across the box. I think it was Werner out on the left-hand side who's taken on Lustig, went round him and just pulled the ball, cut the ball back, and there was Reus coming in on the far, not so much the far post, in the dead centre of the goal. He gets ahead of his marker and with his left foot just steers it into the corner. Olsen rooted to the spot, nothing he could do. Good contact on the ball from Reus in the back of the net. The best ball that Germany have put in this box, that's for sure, and it wasn't in the air, it was on the ground. Good fizzer.
1-1. Sweden have given the ball away again. Germany with their tails up. Toni Kroos, deflected shot just wide of the post. Sweden concede the corner. Nothing that Olsen could have done about that, but it almost crept in, and Germany almost had the lead. Yeah,
good start. Whatever Joachim Löw said at half-time, the Germans have taken it on board. They're dominant now.
Take the corner quickly out to Gundogan outside the Sweden penalty area. Back to Kroos, swings the ball in, left-footed, it bounces past the 6-yard box. Will be collected by Kimmich on the right-hand side. It's Sweden's turn to let rattle. Müller leaves it. Gomez swings on the edge of the 6-yard box, doesn't connect. Sweden get it away. Only as far as Gundogan, and there's an earlier challenge gone in from Lindelof on Kimmich, and Germany have a free kick right-hand side of the Sweden penalty area. Well, an early goal in the second half does wonders, Terry Butcher. And as things stand, Germany still in the World Cup, 1-1 Sweden.
Yeah, he would have said, Joachim Löw, you need a good start. You need to start off this second half like you did the first, and they've certainly done that. But they've got better quality into the box. They know they've got the threat of Gomez in the air. He's always peeling away onto the far post for that deep cross. But when you fire a ball across the face and it misses the first man, it's on the floor. It just needs a touch. It doesn't need a hard touch. It just needs to redirect the ball, which is exactly what Royce did. Kroos on the right-hand side. 5 Germans in that box. A lot of Swedish players in that box as well. It's got to be a special ball in. But now Sweden are thinking, well, what happens if Germany go ahead? And Germans are now saying, right, we've got level. Let's go and win this match.
Kroos standing over this free kick. The Polish referee having a conversation in the penalty area with Rudiger and Boateng, who feel that Toivonen and Larsson are paying them too much close attention on the edge of the 6-yard box. Can Germany hit Sweden twice in the opening 5 minutes? It's flicked in by Müller, and just behind, header on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Thomas Müller coming close for Germany.
Yeah, but it was a ball aimed towards the near post. Good run from Müller on the edge of the box. Müller guides it towards goal, but unfortunately can't direct it on target. But everybody lining up the five. There were 7 Swedish defenders there, including little Larsson. He was the smallest of the 7. He wasn't needed on the far post, so the ball was deep to the near post. Müller gets there first, and it's just gone past the post.
Hector has penalised forehand ball, challenging for a high ball with Lustig. Hector felt he was pushed, nothing given by the Polish referee towards him, so Sweden get the decision. Well, if we asked what Joachim Löw will have said to Germany at half-time, you imagine Jan Andersson's team talk to Sweden would have been keep it tight. What do they do now, having conceded this early equaliser in the second half? Ball swung into the Germany penalty area, headed strongly away by the substitute Mario Gomez. Forsberg will pick it up for Sweden. Intercepted by Gomez. Forsberg tries to pick it up again, but loses it, and Germany are coming over the halfway line. Müller is challenged, referee plays advantage. White shirt still flooding forward, but a poor ball infield is intercepted for Sweden, who can build over the halfway line. Klaassen field to Emil Forsberg just outside the centre circle. Germany won, Sweden won, the world champions back on level terms as Timo Werner goes down, challenged by Mikael Lustig. Free kick Germany, the yellow card is out for Lustig. Could it have been more, Terry Butcher?
No, I think it was Ekdal that got the yellow card after he made the challenge. Lustig is fouled as well, but Ekdal made the challenge, and then you just see at the side there's the shoulder charge. You see the replay to the shoulder charge by Müller back on Ekdal, but Ekdal gets the yellow card.
Yes,
I think Lustig,
Terry Butcher.
do you think Lustig got away with it then? Because the referee wanted to bring it back, so Lustig may have got away for a challenge that should have been a yellow card.
Yes, on Timo Werner. Germany get the free kick either way, and they can build down the right-hand side with Boateng, plays it back into the centre circle with Antonio Rudiger. Equalising goal from Marco Reus, a huge moment for him. He's missed every major tournament since Euro 2012 through injury. Said before this that he would swap all of his money to stay injury-free, and he's got Germany back on level terms, and at the moment has saved their World Cup campaign as Timo Werner plays the ball forward, intercepted by Ludvig Augustinsson, and goes behind for a Sweden goal kick.
And just Germany got to keep doing what they're doing. I'm sure that's what Joachim Löw would have said at half-time. Just keep on doing what you know you can do it very well, do it better, and you'll get through them. And they've done just that, but they've got to keep that momentum up. They started well in the first half, as we keep on about, but then it dropped. The intensity dropped, allowed Sweden to get back in the game. They can't afford to do that. Whereas Sweden know that they'll have the ball in the future. They know that they can play better, and if they do keep the ball well, Sweden, they will trouble this German defence again.
Boateng with the ball at the back for Germany, 1-1 with Sweden. And of course we should point out, in all the drama of Germany falling behind, a defeat definitely sends them out of the World Cup. A draw is certainly not ideal. They would be 3 points behind Sweden going into the final games. They would need Mexico to beat Sweden. They would need to beat South Korea, and then it would go down to goal difference. So 1-1 in the context of coming back from 1-0 down will be a relief at the moment for Germany. The situation is still the same. Really this is a game that they need to win. Not mathematically, but pragmatically.
But it's still on a knife edge, isn't it, from German point of view? It's still on a knife edge that they don't know what's going to happen. They've got the goal back. That was the most important thing at the start of the second half. Now they can build on that, get their passing going, and see if they can go ahead in this game.
Mario Gomez will chase that, leaves it for Timo Werner. The offside flag is up. Free kick to Sweden.
Good line by the Swedish back four then. That's the time to come up. It was Werner made the run in behind Gomez. He was just offside. He bends his run. He can actually go run level with the Swedish back four, but he's just keen and eager. And that's the thing. Germany just got to be patient. They can't afford to be too keen and too eager, because then the touch goes, the pass goes, and they don't continue this momentum. It has dropped a bit, hasn't it, since they scored? It has gone down a little bit, the tempo of the game, and Sweden now are able to get the ball up long, but Germany win it back.
Well, it is a warm evening at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. I wonder if the temperature will take a toll on the game as we go on, as Sweden are penalised. Marcus Berg for a foul on Toni Kroos. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Here on 5 Live.
He was lucky to get away with that. It was Kroos, because he let the ball run, and I think it was Toivonen that just clipped his ankle. Saw one.
Ilkay Gundogan of Manchester City goes down midway through the Sweden half. Nothing given by the Polish referee, and Sweden can come forward. This is where they hurt Germany in the second half on the counter-attack. But that time the ball for Toivonen, Sweden's goal scorer in the first half. Too much on it. And Boateng Moody's up at the back.
Just one-way traffic at the moment. Gundogan is pulling the strings in the middle of the park with Kroos. He's on the ball. He was absent, wasn't he, for about 25 minutes in that first half. Kroos never got on the ball. Sweden never allowed him to, but he's dominating the second half so far.
And he's on the ball now, plays it out to Werner on the left-hand side, cuts the ball into the penalty area. Nutmeg fired in by Hector and saved by Robin Olsen. Well, that's the second nutmeg by Thomas Müller in the penalty area. Lovely improvisation. It fell to Hector, and Olsen makes the save.
Sort of comfortable save low down to his left-hand side from Olsen, but if Hector connects well, he scores. And once again, it's coming down this left-hand side. Sweden not able to deal with it. And once again, the ball going through to Hector. Good touch, reasonable finish, but not enough to beat Olsen.
He will be the only German player in this squad to play in the second division next season, lauded for his loyalty to Cologne, signing a new deal with them despite their relegation. Almost put Germany ahead as Müller swings his foot in the penalty area. Important challenge from Grankvist, gets it away. Throw to Germany midway inside the Sweden half. 1-1. And Germany on top with more intent and purpose and seemingly belief than we saw in the first half when they were also dominating possession. But now, Terry Butcher, they look dangerous. There is Gundogan ball into the penalty area, and as I say that, he plays it out straight for a goal kick.
Yeah, there wasn't dangerous. It wasn't dangerous then. It was a two-touch. He got his feet all wrong there, and it just ends up going for a goal kick. But the thing I've noticed very quickly is when the ball goes out wide to Kimmich on the right, to Hector on the left, there's not enough quick Swedish pressure on that ball. They're able to select whether they dink it, drill it, or pass it across that Swedish back four, and they're electing to pass it across because they've got targets in the box. They can see the targets. Whereas before in that first half, Sweden were getting out, making sure the German players' heads were down, and they weren't able to pick their targets out.
Now it's the glum faces from the yellow and blue Sweden fans in the crowd at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. So we see a shot of a very dapper-looking German fan in a German flag suit, the stripes of black and red. His white suit, celebrating enthusiastically. Germany won, Sweden won. Germany, as things stand, staying in the World Cup, although they will need results to go their way on the final day. Toivonen's ball into the penalty area. Neuer hesitated, didn't come. In the end, Germany clear. Unusual to see Manuel Neuer caught in two minds there as Mario Gomez races away down the other end for Germany. Good block from Lindelof. And Germany had the throw, 1-1.
It was a good break then because Royce passed the ball to Gomez in the inside left, and Gomez tried to return the ball. If he got the ball across, it was blocked by Sweden. If he got the ball across, then Royce was in on goal.
Germany coming forward again. Boateng stepping away from a challenge just outside the penalty area. Ball forward though is poor, intercepted by Lustig, and now Klassen. Sweden wanting to play their way out of trouble. Header towards Toivonen, cleared away, collected by Marcus Berg, who had that big penalty a shout in the first half for Sweden, not given by the referee or by VAR. We had another look at it at half-time, Terry Butcher, and it really did look like a spot kick. Clearly not judged a clear and obvious error not to give it.
Just looked the same to me, a penalty. You'd see that 100 more times and you'd still say 100 times it's a penalty.
Maybe you should be in the VAR room.
Well, I'd love that. I would love that, yeah. You could settle a few scores there.
I don't think that's the idea.
No, it's not.
That's what you can't say publicly if you do ever end up being a referee.
But I would love to wear a referee's kit.
Sweden swing the ball into the penalty area. Too much on it for Marcus Berg. 1-1, 15 minutes gone in this second half. Incidentally, the referee today, Sherman Marcinek, was actually a former footballer who switched to officiating after he once argued with a referee after being sent off. And the referee said, well, why don't you do this job yourself? And he thought, all right, then I will. And he became a referee. So it's not too late, Terry.
No, well, when I played, everybody said I was a good referee anyway. No, but who would want that job? The worst job is a fourth official, of course, but the worst job now is in that VAR room.
As they want decisions to be made quickly. Officially, they say there's no time limit on it, but you do sense the pressure. The pressure now on Sweden as Germany come forward. 1-1, ball into the penalty area, and Royce tried a little flick at the near post, and it rolls behind for a goal kick. But he is looking full of confidence, having got Germany's equaliser in this second half.
Good ball by Kimmich across, fizzed into the gap. Royce tries a back heel. Gomez thinks he's going to get it. If he just flicks it with his foot properly, Royce, he scores. Olsen, no chance, but there's no pressure on the ball from Sweden. Germany able to pass willy-nilly between the lines of the Swedish midfield and defence. No pressure on the man on the ball. He can pick his pass. There's good runners and confident knowing that the man on the ball's got time. They've got to get this pressure right, and I'm sure Anderson on the sidelines will be screaming at his players. Step up, you've got to step up 1 or 2 yards and put pressure on the German players in possession.
1-1 on 5 Live. As things stand, Mexico will go through tonight. If Germany don't win, South Korea will go out, and then it will be between Germany and Sweden on the final day. Germany would need to beat South Korea and hope Sweden lose to Mexico. It would then go down to goal difference. So having got themselves back on level terms, Germany will be desperate to find this winner as Hector can't keep that ball in, and it goes out for Sweden throw 1-1.
Yeah, Boateng just trying to force it too much. Now, I'm sure that Germany will be saying, look, you don't need to force it. He's overhit the pass by 5 yards out wide to Hector, but if just keep it. If Germany keep it, they'll get through, because at this moment Sweden are very much off the pace of the game. They haven't really switched on in this second half. They've weathered a bit of a storm, but we know there's more storms to come.
Germany with the ball at the back. Here is Toni Kroos looking for options, plays it into the centre circle with Jerome Boateng, who, well, I was going to say for once doesn't start to advance through the Sweden half, but he's changed his mind and does so, gives the ball away. Ekdal gets a foot in, but it's picked up again by Germany. Joshua Kimmich, a very highly rated right back, seen as Philipp Lahm's successor, has really made the right back spot at Bayern Munich his own since Lahm retired at the end of last season. Involved in the play down that right hand side as Germany switch it to the left. Timo Werner down by the byline outside the Sweden penalty area, drives the ball across, deflected, wouldn't quite fall on the edge of the box, and Sweden get the ball away. Berg tried to sneak in there behind Rudiger. Rudiger was alert to it, and Germany come forward so quickly again. Ball already outside the Sweden penalty area, pulled back to Toni Kroos. Czechs drives a shot in, it's blocked by Lindelof, and Sweden will get the ball away, but it is just constant pressure from Germany, Terry Butcher.
It is, they're leaving 1v1 as well up there. One Sweden tackle against Boateng. Against Rudiger I think it is, but they can't get the ball to get it up to that striker. It's a good play by Germany. They're really stretching their Swedish defence.
1-1.
Good width, sorry, good width on both sides.
Absolutely. 1-1. Rudiger, the ball outside the centre circle, plays it out to the right hand side, and Kimmich back to Manchester City's Ilkay Gundogan. Now Toni Kroos just outside the D, thinks about a shot, instead dinks it into the penalty area. It will be brought down by the scorer of Germany's equaliser, Marco Reus. Outside the box, lays it off to Kimmich, back to Reus, and now the run of Müller down to the byline, pulls the ball back across. Miscommunication, Kimmich won't latch onto it. Germany trying to play their way through with neat passes through the Sweden defence, not quite coming off there. 1-1.
Yeah, all wave after wave of attack, as we said. They're looking for that killer ball. They're switching play well, Germany. That diagonal's got going again from right to left. Werner is the one that's come out to this left-hand side. Muller's on the right-hand side. But the German movement is a lot better, and that's, I'm sure, what Joachim Löw would have said at half-time. And they're certainly doing just that. Good movement from Germany.
Coming down the right-hand side again, Kimmich checks, swings the ball into the penalty area, headed up by Mario Gomez, almost away from goal. Gomez will get a second header back to Toni Kroos, who curls a shot over the bar.
Deflection, I think. I think that's a corner, but Kroos hits the ball, and it just gets a touch. I think that maybe Ekdal that came out to block it, but that's better from Sweden. At least they got men out to try and block the shot.
19 and a half minutes gone in the second half. Germany won, Sweden won. Germany with a corner, right-hand side. Toni Kroos stands over it. Swings the ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away by Manchester United's Lindelof, and clearance completed down to the halfway line. This time, no Swedish player to put pressure on the Germany defenders back. When they have the ball in a free-flowing move, as you say, Terry, they are just leaving Antonio Rudiger back there. Is that slightly risky from Germany? If they lose tonight, they will be out. Get your thoughts on that in a moment as the ball is spilled by Olsen inside the penalty area. It's all go at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. Sweden survive, clear the ball away for a throw midway inside their own half.
I daren't speak, because as soon as I try to speak, Germany come forward with the ball. This time Olsen on a cross, not the best of crosses, low again into the box, and they clear it. But yeah, it is risky when you leave one-on-one, but Germany have had so much possession of the ball. Someone like Kroos can always get back.
They're forward again, swinging the ball to the left-hand side of the penalty area, header back across, and Seb Larsson will bring it down for Sweden and try and play their way through their own half. Yet the Germany half, Marcus Berg holds it up, back to Albin Ekdal, has to check under pressure from Royce, who scored Germany's equaliser in this second half after Toivonen put Sweden ahead with a lovely chip over Manuel Neuer in the first half, a goal that at the time was sending Germany out of the World Cup. 1-1 will be enough to mathematically keep them in it. They will need results to go their way on the final day as Lindelof shepherds that back to Olsen. Just shepherds that back to Olsen as Gomez was rushing in. Sweden play it forward, give the ball away. Here is Jonas Ekdal, 1-1, Germany-Sweden here on 5 Live. Toni Kroos, it's all Germany in this second half. Werner on the left-hand side pulls it back to Kroos, ambling towards the Sweden penalty area. Germany trying to find that pass that will pick the lock. And Gundogan of Manchester City lays it off to Kroos, swings the ball into the penalty area. Marco Reus swings it back across, and Olsen was coming in. It's nervy from Grankvist, swings a foot at it inside the 6-yard box and clears it out for a Germany throw.
That ball was going through to Olsen. He was about 2 yards away from Olsen, was Grankvist, and he's cleared the ball. But sometimes if you're in any doubt as a defender, you just get it out.
Every player bar Manuel Neuer is inside the Sweden half. Germany building down the right-hand side with Royce. Played back to Kimmich, has Forsberg in attendance, lays it off to Royce again. The green boots darting towards the penalty area, block swung back in, looking for Gomez, who stabs it over the bar. Sweden were appealing for the offside, but in the end Gomez has sent it over from close range.
We're just watching the replay now, and he's just onside. The flag doesn't go up, and I think Gomez can't believe that he's onside. The ball just drops in front of him, and he tries to meet it on the half volley about 6 or 7 yards out, but centre of the goal virtually, and he tries to play it with the outside of his left foot as a half volley and hits it right over the crossbar. What a chance that was.
Big chance for Mario Gomez. It remains Germany 1, Sweden 1 midway through the second half. The Fish Stadium in Sochi. Mexico, as things stand, going through to the last 16. They have been so impressive in their 2 games so far, beating South Korea 2-1, and of course that opening win against Germany.
Yeah, did they sort of play in second gear today a little bit? They were quite comfortable, weren't they, Mexico, in the match today, but
Germany swing the ball into the penalty area, and that is caught and claimed well by Robin Olsen, who had kept 5 consecutive clean sheets for Sweden, hadn't conceded in 500 minutes before Marco Reus got that equaliser at the start of this second half.
Mexico have been very good and thoroughly deserve to be top of the group. There's obviously a real battle here now to see who's going to going to join him at the top, or who's going to join him in the next round should this stay the same. But Germany fighting for their lives, and they are putting a good show on now. They're certainly dominating everything. Second balls. Well, I haven't said that. Just give the ball away.
Kroos gives the ball away. Marcus Berg will pick it up for Sweden. Down the left-hand side, Germany getting players back. One of them is Kimmich, closing down Berg. He plays it back to Ekdal, and now Larsson. Sweden is really the first spell of possession. We're 24 minutes into the second half. It's really the first spell of possession Sweden have enjoyed in this second 45, as that ball into the penalty area is headed away by Boateng. Berg tries to hook it over his shoulder. Boateng inadvertently flicks it on, but it's through to Manuel Neuer.
They've got to have better balls into the box there. I think they were looking to try and play up to Berg, and Toivonin's in the box, but not a good ball in. And you can see a lot of Swedish players getting a bit tired here. They've done a lot of running. They're shuffling back well. They just can't get hold of this ball.
1-1. Sweden would still be in pole position going into the final day. A point would do it for them if it stays the same, as Hector swings the ball in. It's cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box, collected by Kroos, and now Gundogan tried to feed Werner inside the penalty area, but Sweden bring it away through Forsberg, who is then caught. Is he by Boateng? Yes, he is, and the referee tried to play advantage. There wasn't one. Sweden get a free kick just inside the Germany half, and Jerome Boateng goes into the book.
Yeah, but he had to do that in many respects. So there were a lot of German defenders around him. He's inside the Sweden half, and he just clips the ankles of Forsberg. He actually falls. He could have probably carried on, but the referee was quite right and booked him.
At what point does Sweden think 1-1? That means a point against Mexico on the final day would see us through. We now settle for the draw, although it doesn't really change their style of play that much, does it? Because they're defending and trying to hit Germany on the counter-attack. So unless you completely give up on the counter-attack, then I guess it's the same.
I think that point was reached 3 minutes into the second half when Germany scored. I think they would have settled for a point then. And they're working hard to get that point. But they've got to have belief and stick together, because one good pass, particularly from this man on the ball now, Toni Kroos, and Germany could be in. They've dominated down this left-hand side. Sweden are really struggling down here with Werner's pace especially, and he's in again.
Werner into the penalty area, forced wide, drags it back across, cut out, deflected onto Olsen. Sweden will get it away with Seb Larsson. Almost an own goal there off Olsen, and Sweden win a free kick. Or in fact, does it go Germany's way? Yes, it's gone Germany's way. Midway inside the Sweden half for a handball. Well, Olsen getting a little fortunate there. Not much he could have done if it had gone in off him, with the sliding clearance that hit him and almost put Germany ahead.
Yeah, he's doing well down that wing. Werner been played in several times, the architect of the first goal. Kroos is finding him with regularity. Lustig is getting a bit of a beating down there, not getting much help at all.
So Toni Kroos stands over this 40 yards out, central position. Germany have options inside the penalty area. He opts to play it to the right-hand side with Joshua Kimmich. Thomas Müller lurking on the edge of the 6-yard box. Kimmich, though, is well marshalled, has to play it back to Gundogan, who swings the ball into the penalty area, looking for Müller, will fall to Royce. The shot is blocked by Klaassen and goes out for a Germany throw, 1-1.
That was on target as well. Royce very confident after his goal. Must be about 6 or 7 German players in that box at all times. It's just phenomenal. And the movement, people coming out of the box, people going into the box. The rotation of movement from Germany is excellent. And he's got no pressure on the ball. Kroos is on the ball again now. He can pick his pass.
Here's Klaassen in with a sliding challenge. Kroos just dances away from him, and then an air shot inside the penalty area. Gundogan is challenged. Good defending by Sweden, and Klaassen will play it away. Here is Toivonen, who puts Sweden ahead in the first half before Germany's equaliser. 1-1 at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. Sliding challenge on Ekdal from Werner, and Sweden win a free kick and just have a little moment of respite midway inside their own half.
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? Just to have a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, we can have one too.
Yeah, we can have one too. But wow, Germany really have turned on the gas in this second half. They do deserve to be in front. And they've got in behind that Swedish defence. The final ball has been better, not quite the right final ball yet to get that second goal, but you have an awful feeling it's coming. Sweden about to make a substitution and just try and kill the sting of this game. It's a frantic pace. Sweden can't live with it at the moment.
Yes, it is Jimmy Durmaz who is coming on for Klaassen. The attacking player has found it hard to get into the game in this second half, largely because Sweden have had the ball for probably, if you added up, a grand total of about 2 minutes in this second half. We've played 28 minutes. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Dermaz on for Sweden.
He's gone on the right wing, isn't he? He's a right winger, Dermaz. Good beard as well, but he'll need to be streamlined to get to help Lustig. I think that's why he's gone on. He's going to help Lustig down that right-hand side. Werner and Hector have dominated the second half. Needs a bit of help, Lustig, and now he's got it.
16 minutes to play. Germany 1, Sweden 1 on 5 Live. This result will keep Germany in the World Cup as Dermaz does well. Wins a corner for Sweden.
It's a good beard, isn't it?
It's a very good beard.
Very good beard, Dermaz. Very good.
Big and bushy, although it's probably a little bit too warm given that it is a warm evening at the Fish Stadium in Sochi. As the Sweden fans raise their voices, the yellow and blue dancing in the stands. This result still leaves them in control. Mexico would go through. Sweden would just need a point from their final group game if it stays Germany 1, Sweden 1. And they have a corner. Augustinsson, the left back, will go over to take it. Toivonen is in there. Grönqvist as well. Mario Gomez back defending for Germany. Sweden's corner will be swung in by Augustinsson. Sweden player goes down on the edge of the 6-yard box. No real appeal as the shot comes in and is caught by Neuer from Forsberg, trying his luck from outside the area.
Yeah, it was on target. Corner comes in, headed out to the edge of the box on the left-hand side. Connects really well, but it's straight down. Neuer, straight into his chest. Takes it comfortably, and Germany come back. But this is better from Sweden. High pressure from Dermaz on that right-hand side. They're saying you centre-halves can have it, but your full-back's not going to have it. And here goes Dermaz again to try and close down.
Closing down Marco Reus. Equalised for Germany at the start of this second half. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Hector to Toni Kroos. And now Antonio Rudiger in the centre circle for Germany. Jerome Boateng starts to amble through the Sweden half as he has done on so many occasions. Ball to Kimmich down the right-hand side, exchanges passes with Müller, but the return ball, breakdown in communication, and it's behind for a Sweden goal kick. 14 minutes to play.
I mean, Thomas Müller's got a fantastic World Cup record, but he's just been a pale shadow of himself in this World Cup so far, and in this match as well. He's not really contributed to much. He's there, he's a peripheral figure. Germany need a lot more from him. He's one of the most experienced men in the team. You know, he's got to help them out a bit more.
He has 10 goals in 14 World Cup appearances before this match for Thomas Müller. Golden Boot in 2010, those two against England, of course. Also scored 5 as Germany won the World Cup in 2014 as Marcus Berg gives away a free kick deep inside Germany territory. And Germany will be able to launch the ball long and bring more pressure to bear on that Sweden back line. 1-1.
I see attackers dive and I see midfield players dive, but when defenders dive, it looks completely and utterly wrong. Kimmich just goes down there as if he's been hit by a sledgehammer. Berg saying I never touched him, and he didn't actually touch him, he just dives. But the referees will give it. It's just unbelievable. Defenders diving, oh my goodness.
Not something that happened in your day, Terry Butcher?
No, I don't like it very much, but unfortunately it is now the norm, isn't it? This is what happens. Every player dives. I see goalkeepers dive as well sometimes. That'd be good. Well, they do dive naturally anyway, but no, it's just ridiculous.
Any advantage now, isn't it, that you can get?
But it's like with the VAR. You would like you appeal for everything, and you go up to the referee and do the box thing and appeal for everything. The more you appeal, the more the referee might be then inclined to say, well, something's up.
Sweden make a substitution. The goal scorer in the first half, Ola Toivonen, is off to rousing applause from the Sweden fans. John Guidetti is on. Sweden 1-1 with Germany. 13 minutes to play.
Big 13 minutes, isn't it? A big 13 minutes for both teams.
Sweden with the throw towards Guidetti. The substitute cleared up by Antonio Rudiger all the way back to Manuel Neuer. Well, Germany, of course, were heading out at half-time. If it stays like this, they won't. But overall, Terry Butcher, they will be severely disappointed if they don't win this, given that they will be depending on Mexico to beat Sweden in the final round of group games. Well, and even then, they still might not get through on goal difference.
But if it stays like this, they're not masters of their own destiny then.
Boateng with the ball for Germany midway inside the Sweden half. Good challenge by Albin Ekdal, but breaks down. Germany pick it back up on the right hand side. Ball swung in, is blocked by Augustinsson. Boateng with another effort. headed up by Grankvist, who goes down, and the referee from Poland gives a free kick to Sweden inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, foul by Muller, I think it was. It's not the best of crosses in the box. The German crosses that have come in, if they're up in the air, then it's going to be quite comfortable for a lot of these Swedish defenders, because they're pretty big. But when it's on the ground, if you're a big defender, the worst thing you want is a ball on the ground, because you can't move your feet, you can't attack the ball if it's in the air, you can't attack a moving ball on the ground. That's how Germany scored, and that's why they look more dangerous. They seem to have just gone off the ball slightly, Germany.
Yes, after that endeavour and that energy following that equaliser, Sweden, as they did in the first half, coming more back into this game, and they could be in behind here. No offside flag against Marcus Berg. In the end, it eventually does go up. The assistant referees in this tournament told not to flag on those tight offside calls, to allow it to be reviewed by VAR.
Well, there's no review needed there. He was offside, but I can't believe they should. They have to flag as he goes for the ball, but he actually nearly touches the ball, and then they flag. But listen, it was the right call.
Germany won, Sweden won. 10 minutes to play at the Fish Stadium in Sochi on 5 Live. Jerome Boateng coming forward for Germany. White shirts again surrounding the Sweden penalty area, repelled by the tide of blue and yellow. Ball swung in and flicked by Werner first time. 10 yards out over the bar.
Snap chance, half a chance really from Werner. I was looking at those marking up. They were marked up, but Grankvist just drops about 2 yards off Werner. It was a good ball, another good ball, fizzed along the ground like we said, and he just scoops the ball with his right foot, Werner, just straight to him, scoops it with his right foot, but unfortunately gets the top of his boot and it goes over the bar. If he hits it at goal, he stands a real good chance. There's a good fizzer across the box, but they're the sort of balls that have caused all the problems for Sweden.
21 goals for Red Bull Leipzig this season for Timo Werner.
Here we go now.
Late challenge by Boateng as Sweden win a free kick.
This is where Sweden are very dangerous with a free kick then. It's about 30-35 yards out on the right hand side. The Swedish big men will go forward. Opportunity for Sweden now.
He's free kick in a good position. It is very late from Jerome Boateng,
who's just been booked, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he's just been booked, and that's why the Swedish bench is up. He's just been booked, and he makes a challenge like that.
Yes, Jan Andersson brandishing the imaginary red card. Boateng with a look of slight panic on his face, shaking his finger at the referee.
Yeah, I think he was worried there, and he's gone.
He has. The referee has decided, after consideration, that is a second yellow and a red card for Jerome Boateng. The Swedish appeals bear fruit, and Jerome Boateng is sent off. Germany down to 10 men against Sweden with a little over 8 minutes to play.
I was actually thinking then, he's very, I was going to say, he's very lucky to get away without having a second yellow card, and then he produced it. Now whether he had advice from VAR, I don't know, but I know they can't actually go on to second yellows, can they? They have no control of it. It's his decision, the referee's decision. I think it's the right one. He should not make a challenge like that after he'd just been booked.
He's given himself time, the referee. He's thought about it, and he has sent Jerome Boateng off as Sweden swing the ball into the penalty area. Neuer comes and punches on the end of his 6-yard box. Swung back in by Augustinsson. Plenty of blue shirts in there. Neuer scrambling, slipped and punches it clear away from Guidetti. It was Berg's header. Neuer slipped as he came for it, and Guidetti just couldn't latch onto it. Neuer just getting a touch ahead of the Sweden substitute, and Guidetti roars in frustration.
Oh, he looked dodgy there, didn't he, Neuer? He's coming, and then he slips, and eventually just gets there, throws a punch at the ball goes off his knuckles behind him, but out to the right-hand side for another corner. Sweden dangerous on this corner. Germany have defended them pretty well, but they'll have to now.
7 minutes to go. Germany down to 10 men, 1. Sweden 1. Sweden with a corner from the left-hand side. Seb Larsson stands over it, swings it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Berg jumped and didn't get there, and it will bounce behind for a goal kick.
A good ball in, wasn't it? In-swinger from the left-hand side. Larsson with his right foot hits it really well. And we're just seeing the second yellow card. Yes, that's his second. That's a yellow card all day long. No complaints about that whatsoever.
Well, Jerome Boateng became the first German to be sent off on his international debut, actually in Russia, in Moscow in 2009. And he has been red-carded in Sochi Germany, though, will still have to plough forward. A draw will not send them out of the World Cup this evening, but it will leave Sweden needing just a point from their final group match against Mexico to go through. Germany's place at this tournament still very much in jeopardy. 1-1 into the final 6 minutes as Kimmich plays the ball forward, goes down. The referee gives a free kick to Germany. Wide on the right-hand side, Emil Forsberg protests his innocence. A dangerous set-piece opportunity.
Yep, that is a foul. He's just left his leg dangling there. Kimmich passing the ball and then going inside.
They've taken it short, they've taken it quickly. Ball swung in, deflection, caught by Robin Olsen. Ball in Gray, who dives on it on the edge of his 6-yard box. 1-1.
You have to say now that Sweden must take great heart from that red card. When Germany were down to 10 men in the first half, Sweden dominated possession. They have a chance to have a breather, get things going, pass the ball, knowing that Germany, down to 10 men, are going to have to work very, very hard. They've got the advantage now, Sweden, and certainly want to keep it.
Yes, that was when Rudy went off injured, and it took them a while to make the substitution, as Marcus Berg is flagged offside for Sweden. 5 minutes to play. Do they go for it now, or do they just try and close up shop and get this valuable point, Sweden?
Good question. Good question. You'd be tempted to say go for it, but I think they'll just keep 4-4-2, keep the shape, keep it well, and then see what develops. I don't think you can actually say, well, we're definitely going to go for it, because Germany, even with 10 men, are still a very dangerous team.
They're coming forward now with Toni Kroos. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Out on the left-hand side to Jonas Hector, well shepherded by Jimmy Durmaz, forced back to Antonio Rudiger. Again, all players bar Manuel Neuer inside the Sweden half. Germany looking as though they may go for broke in trying to win this game. Here is Hector, square to Rudiger, forward to Gundogan, back to Hector. Sweden marshalled well, forcing Germany back towards their own half. Kimmich now trying to find some space down the right-hand side. Thomas Muller's ball into the penalty area, straight to Seb Larsson, who clears away. And Forsberg attempts to complete the clearance, but skews it, and it goes out for a Germany throw midway inside the Sweden half.
That was loosely termed as the shank, with the golf terms, but football terms as well. He tried to volley it, and it just went over his head, just like sliced off him. Hector's coming off now.
Yes, Germany are going for it. Julian Brandt is coming on. Julian Brandt, who got into the Germany squad ahead of the Premier League Young Player of the Year, Leroy Sané. Joachim Löw said it was a photo finish. Well, if Brandt comes on to score the late winner, that will justify Joachim Löw in exactly the way he would have hoped for. He will be questioned over his team selection. Khedira and Ozil both dropped today after not impressing against Mexico. And as things stand, Germany have not done enough. Neither has Julian Brandt, whose first contribution is to fall over on the ball. He's won it back though. It was Toni Kroos approaching the Sweden penalty area, cuts back to Gundogan, just outside the box. Germany 1, Sweden 1, as Germany are forced back. This result will see Germany stay in the World Cup for now. They will have it all to do on the final day. It will not be in their own hands. Can they snatch a late winner? Ball driven into the penalty area, headed up by Granqvist for Sweden. Kroos brings it down on the edge of the box, swings it back in left-footed, and the header is there, and Olsen makes a fabulous save. Mario Gomez with the header on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Olsen with a strong punch to keep it 1-1.
Well, for once the ball reaching Gomez's head. Gomez was Super Mario there with a header on goal, but what a save it was. Luckily it was straight underneath the crossbar in dead centre. Olsen there already punched it over the bar. For the first time, any cross coming into the box high was met by a German head. Corner.
Just over 2 minutes plus added time to play. 1-1. Germany take the corner short. Played back to the edge of the box to Kimmich. Penalty area flooded as the ball is driven in. It's poor, it's behind from Müller. Sweden goal kick.
Müller. Bad ball, wasn't it? It was a shocking cross.
Not much else to say, really, is there?
He's had a stinker, me. I didn't tell you now, he's had a stinker, but he's still on the pitch for some reason. But no, he's not contributed at all. But we're just watching this header. It was a reasonably good header. I think Dion Dublin would be saying, well, it was all right, it was on target, not the best of us. He didn't get above it, he didn't get it down into a corner. Comfortable save from Olsen, but Germany still keep this pressure on.
10-man Germany 1, Sweden 1. Germany win it back. Toni Kroos just inside his own half to Gundogan. A little under a minute and a half plus added time to play. Here is Julian Brandt, the late substitute, up against Guidetti. And then the foul comes in from Jimmy Durmaz, and Sweden have given a free kick away in a dangerous position, level with the edge of the penalty area on the left-hand side. As they prepare to make another change, Isaac Kaseya-Tellin is going to replace Marcus Berg, a striker for a striker. Fresh legs, you would think, Terry Butcher, for these final 60 seconds plus added time or so.
Yeah, and a bit of pace as well to try and unsettle that German defence. But Germany have a free kick. No matter what the substitution, they have a free kick on the left-hand side, level with the edge of the box, about 5 yards inside from the touchline. Germany will put a lot of men into that box. Gomez will be in there, of course. Rudiger will be in there. All the big guns will be in there. But I wonder if Toni Kroos can do something a bit clever, because he normally does.
So Berg is off, Tellin is on, but it's all about this Germany free kick. Toni Kroos stands over it. On the far left-hand side, swings it into the 6-yard box. Good header away from Grankvist to the edge of the penalty area. Back in from Brandt. Olsen opts to punch rather than catch. And the ball goes out for a Germany throw. Good distance on it.
He just punched the ball out of play. Dead centre of the goal. He just went bang. It's out of play. That was some punch, wasn't it? You wouldn't want to get it on the end of one of his punches.
Into added time. Germany 1, Sweden 1 here on 5 Live. Rudiger playing midway through the Sweden half. Germany leaving nobody back. They need a win. They will not be out mathematically, but Sweden will only need a point from their final group game if this finishes as a draw. Germany with the ball on the right-hand side. Julian Brandt trying to trick his way down to the byline, but he's well dispossessed. And Sweden will clear through Augustinsson. Chested on by Guidetti. What Germany can't afford to do is lose the ball now. Durmaz has it. They did get a foot in Germany to stop the quick Sweden counter-attack. Sweden forced back outside their own penalty area. Jimmy Durmaz plays it back to Lustig, who clears long downfield. 1-1. The Sweden give away a free kick. Tellin just inside the Germany half.
I didn't think that was a free kick. The lines had flagged. The referee didn't give a free kick. Lines had flagged straight away. Anderson up on the bench from Sweden. Didn't think it was a foul. Back come Germany.
Building down the left-hand side. Here is Timo Werner trying to take on Durmaz. Swings the ball in, and it's hacked behind his own goal by Lustig. Germany corner. We have played 1 of the 5 minutes additional time. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Germany take the corner short quickly. Here is Royce, plays it back to Kroos. And now Gundogan on the edge of the penalty area. Shot driven in by Brandt off the post. And Werner on the 6-yard box fires over the bar. Almost the moment for Julian Brandt, and Werner cannot capitalise on the ricochet that falls to him.
I just had a vision in my head there that Brandt was the one to score a magical left foot shot, and he was miles offside, was Werner as well for the rebound. Good job it was offside, because there was a horrendous miss. Comes off the post. I think inside the post, I think Olsen gets there, but it's hit with such power. Left foot, great technique, and Werner just sticks his foot out over the bar. That was the moment there. If Brandt had scored, like you said, Vicky, it would have fully justified Joachim Löw's picking of Brandt ahead of Leroy Sané. But wow, what a strike.
The youngest player in the squad, just 22. So close to being the hero for Germany, but here comes Sweden down the other end. Ball into the penalty area, fired over by Forsberg. But the whistle has already gone for a free kick to Germany, and I think they're lucky there.
It was offside, wasn't it? I think it was offside, yeah. Wow. How long have we got left, Vicky? How long have we got left?
2.5 minutes of the minimum 5 have been played. Germany 1, Sweden 1. A thrilling game here on 5 Live. Germany will not go out as things stand, but Sweden would only need a point from their final group game. Mexico will go through to the last 16 this evening with this result. South Korea will be out. Is there time for another late chance for Germany, having just hit the post through Brandt? Here is Gundogan. 2 minutes of the minimum 5 remain. Kroos swings the ball into the penalty area, pulled back across, and it's really poor from Marco Reus. Well, he scored the equaliser very early on in the second half, tried to go for the audacious on the angle, and it was always rising and always over.
Toni Kroos has just been unbelievable. He's hardly been marked at all. Sweden have let him have the ball, which is obviously a mistake. But a lovely diagonal ball to Royce, coming in on the right-hand side, about 10 yards out from the goal line. On the volley, just got to hit it back across, tries to do that, catches it wrong, goes over the crossbar. A lot of German faces here we're seeing on the monitors, not very happy, but disconsolate. It's very similar to us in '86. We lost the first game, drew the next one, had Ray Wilkins sent off as well. But we still got through.
Sweden coming forward in the end, though. It's a tame shot from John Guidetti. Good chance for Sweden. They had men inside the Germany penalty area. Just over a minute left to play of the minimum 5. Germany 1, Sweden 1. Germany coming forward with Toni Kroos and now Timo Werner down the left-hand side, approaching the Sweden penalty area. It is now or never for Germany, and Jimmy Durmaz has again given a free kick away in a ridiculous position. And Germany will have a final opportunity. Free kick just on the edge of the penalty area, level with the penalty spot, left-hand side, and Durmaz only has himself to blame. What was he thinking?
Well, he should have just jockeyed him and shown him outside. Werner just dropped his shoulder, went on the left-hand side like he did for the goal, and he was always going to beat Durmaz. Durmaz tried to lunge in. Werner just touched the ball, free kick. A dangerous situation, about a foot outside the box, about 10 yards out.
This is it, Germany's last chance. In the 5th minute of added time, swung in by Toni Kroos, and it's in! Germany have done it! The world champions are ahead against Sweden with virtually the last kick of the game. And it is that man, Toni Kroos. A little 1-2 from the free kick, and they have broken Swedish hearts. They are alive and kicking in this World Cup. Germany 2, Sweden 1.
Well, it's only fitting that the best player on the pitch gets the winning goal. It's a soft free kick from Durmaz. He had two men on Werner. Durmaz dives in, gives away the free kick. Kroos just touched it, it was stopped, and then he curled the ball in, difficult angle. I don't think if Olsen could see it that much. It's in the top left-hand corner from Olsen's point of view, right-hand corner as we look. Lovely curled ball. Olsen goes with his right hand. Probably not the best thing to do, but the pace on the ball is enough. A great strike as well, right in the far corner. Just in the camera angle right behind it. It's a magnificent shot. Sweden couldn't block it, goalkeeper couldn't save it. That's got 3 points for Germany, and they're back in this World Cup.
And that is what world champions do. Down to 10 men, seconds remaining, and Joachim Löw celebrates on the touchline. Germany 2, Sweden 1. The ball is down the Germany end. We have played the minimum 5 minutes. There can only be seconds left. Sweden are shell-shocked. They have done so well in this match as Gundogan wins it back from Seb Larsson. The referee blows his whistle. It's a free kick for Germany. A booking for Larsson. And after all Sweden's endeavour, after all their hard work against 10 men for the final 10 minutes, they have come unstuck due to a silly foul given away by the substitute Jimmy Durmaz, and Toni Kroos with the free kick. Clever little 1-2 with Royce to get it exactly where he wanted it, just inside the penalty area. Means that the German flags, the black, red and yellow, are flying around the Fish Stadium in Sochi. Manuel Neuer will take his time over this. Jan Anderson can't believe it on the touchline. Arms folded, hand over his mouth. Joachim Löw is still organising, but there are seconds left. This surely will be the final kick of the game. And it is the celebrations for Germany. Toni Kroos sinks to his knees in the centre circle and thumps the floor with 2 fists. He is mobbed by teammates. Germany have survived an almighty scare. They have put themselves right back into contention in this group. Terry Butcher.
Well, Toni Kroos, when you're down and out virtually as Germany were, you need a character, you need a leader, you need someone to just dig you out of this massive hole that they got themselves in, and Toni Kroos did just that. He was magnificent with his passing, never gave the ball away, drove Germany forward, constant pressure with the ball, constant passing, and it was only fitting that he got the winner. Great test of German character. They've come through this unbelievably well. Not the way that Joachim Löw would have loved to have won it, but they have won it. They're on their way again.
An unbelievable finish. Toni Kroos looks almost in tears as Sebastian Rudy, who had to go off in the first half with that horrible nose injury, blood everywhere, comes and embraces him. The Germany flags are waving in the stands. Sweden ruminates on what might have been, but it finishes in Sochi. Germany 2, Sweden 1.
And quite how it finished, Germany 2, Sweden 1, is yet to be picked over. We've got Archie Rintut here in the studio. The most extraordinary finish, 95 minutes and the goal from Toni Kroos gives Germany the 3 points in that game. This is how it leaves the table in Group F. Mexico, maximum points, 6 from their opening 2 games. Germany with 3 points. Sweden with 3 points. Korea yet to get off the mark. The final games are on Wednesday. It's South Korea against Germany, and it is Mexico against Sweden. Germany need to better Sweden's result in order to progress to the knockout stages of the tournament, something that they've done in every World Cup in the modern era, post-war era. Archie, is that a win that they deserved?
Yes, because in the second half, Sweden did not create a chance. Germany had more than enough chances to win it. But I don't think that is just a win. That is a watershed moment for Germany because of the way that South Korea have played in this tournament. I think you'd have to expect Germany to go on and comfortably beat them in their final group game. But that is a huge moment for Germany. That turns all of the momentum. You can see the relief on all of the Germany players' faces, but particularly Toni Kroos, the man who gave the ball away in that first half, one of their most reliable players as well, 3-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid, to then come up with that sort of moment of inspiration in stoppage time of a game where they were facing embarrassment back home. It would have been a crisis. What a moment for Toni Kroos, what a moment for Germany.
And if they're able to build on it with the match against South Korea, what does that do to their chances of going forward? At half-time, it was such a different picture. We were talking about the future of Joachim Löw, we were talking about his team selection, we were talking about his squad selection, not including Leroy Sané. Suddenly, as you said, a win like that, followed by a game against South Korea, takes them into the last 16, and a completely different feeling around the whole camp.
Look, I still think there are vulnerabilities there at the back. We've seen that again tonight, but it really does give them that air of invincibility when you can come back from such a moment. That is what gives players that sort of belief in those final minutes, when you know you can come up with something special like that. I think that it's a really big moment. You can see what it means to the players. İlkay Gündoğan, for example, gone through so much stress himself in the past few weeks. What with this situation after having pictures with the Turkish president, the controversy that's caused in Germany, seeing him in tears, and Toni Kroos there wiping his brow on the pitch. And I think most German fans too, it would have been such an embarrassment had they gone out at this stage. So
real disappointment for Sweden. As you said, Germany created more in the second half, but no blame attached to them for playing for the draw, which would have really put them in a good position on the final round of matches in Group F. But an extraordinary evening in Sochi, in which Germany have beaten Sweden by 2-1. Germany down to 10 men when Toni Kroos' 95th minute winner gave them 3 points and kept alive their chances of progressing to the knockout stages in the World Cup. Coming up next on 5 Live, it's Stephen Nolan.
Well, just an incredible match. If you want to pick up the phone tonight, 08085 909 693. Also tonight, the same problems facing the two richest regions in the world. What do Europe and the US do with the millions of migrants trying to cross its borders? Contrasting views on this one on both sides of the Atlantic. 08085 909 693.
This is your World Cup station, Russia 2018. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening, it's 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Nolan.
The main news in 5 Live. Thousands have turned out in support of a public vote on the final Brexit deal.
And in sport this evening, Germany leave it till the dying seconds to beat Sweden and stay alive at the World Cup.
Don't forget to download the World Football Phone World Cup Special, Russia 2018's even drawing me in. Search for your usual podcast suppliers.
This is BBC 5 Live.
With me being that football expert, Here's the news. Lisa McCormick.
Organisers say more than 100,000 people have marched through London demanding a vote on the final Brexit deal. The event was organised to mark the second anniversary of the referendum. The Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Vince Cable, spoke to the crowds.
If the energy, the commitment, the principles that we're seeing here today are kept going, we will stop Brexit. So my message today is a very simple one. Keep fighting, keep hoping, we will win.
The French President Emmanuel Macron says the EU states who refuse to accept migrants who are entitled to political asylum should face sanctions. Italy's Deputy Prime Minister has accused him of being totally oblivious to the scale of the problem. It's emerged that police in Manchester decided not to intervene when they saw a boy go inside the house of a suspected paedophile in order to protect an undercover surveillance operation. They were watching Dominic Noonan, who's since been convicted of historical sex offences against 4 boys. Greater Manchester Police says an investigation cleared the officers involved. Our reporter Jerry Jackson has more.
Officers saw the boy enter the house and observed the windows and curtains being closed, but were ordered by senior officers not to intervene. Greater Manchester Police says it referred the matter to the Independent Police Complaints Commission, which concluded that while there was no evidence of gross misconduct, 2 detectives had displayed behaviour which could amount to misconduct.
Zimbabwe's vice president's been injured in an explosion at a political rally. It happened just as President Emmerson Mnangagwa finished speaking to supporters in the opposition stronghold of Bulawayo. Our correspondent Shingai Nagoa is in the capital, Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa appeared on state television and he essentially said that he was unharmed, and he blamed this explosion on the people that he says have previously tried to assassinate him. He said 6 times before. But he says that there will be no witch hunt as a result of this, but that the government will try to get to the bottom of what has happened.
A man's been given a 5-year football ban in order after a video showing fans singing anti-Semitic songs at the World Cup was shared online. 57-year-old Michael Herbert from Derby appeared at Leicester Magistrates Court earlier. 2 other men are due there next week. People are being warned not to get too close to wild dolphins after a woman was photographed swimming near a mother and her calf off the coast of Cardigan Bay in Wales. The Marine Code of Conduct asked people to stay 100 metres away. Jonathan Evans witnessed it.
We watched turned out to be the mother swimming repeatedly towards the dolphin. The dolphin was actually moving to a different location, and then the mum would change and follow that direction. So not really aware of, I don't think, any harm that she might have been doing.
And the Game of Thrones stars Kit Harington and Rose Leslie have got married in Aberdeenshire. The couple, whose characters Jon Snow and Ygritte are also together on screen, met filming the show in 2012. With the sport now, here's Don Busby.
Thank you. 10-man Germany needed a Toni Kroos goal in the 95th minute against Sweden to keep alive the defence of their world title in Russia. The Germans had Jerome Boateng sent off for 2 bookable offences. In Group F today, Mexico beat South Korea 2-1. England head coach Eddie Jones says their 25-10 win over South Africa was just reward for their efforts. Johnny May was the man of the match in the final test. South Africa won the series 2-1. And in Melbourne, Ireland earned their first series victory in Australia for 39 years, winning their final test 2016. Lewis Hamilton is on pole for the French Grand Prix. Teammate Valtteri Bottas alongside him, and championship leader Sebastian Vettel third. South Africa defeated England by 6 wickets at Taunton in the Women's Tri-Series. England went on to win their second game, beating New Zealand by 54 runs. Novak Djokovic beat Jeremy Chardy in straight sets at Queen's to reach his first final in a year. He'll play Maran Cilic. And at Royal Ascot, the 4-1 shot Merchant Navy, trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by jockey Ryan Moore, won the Diamond Jubilee Stakes.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
And a quick look at the weather. It's going to be clear overnight for most of us. A bit of lingering cloud in Scotland, though, and it'll be cold across the north. Looking ahead to Saturday, you can expect it to be dry and warm with sunny spells. A bit hazy in parts to the south and a breeze around the coast. Highs in London 25 and Belfast 20 Celsius.
Federer having to show patience. 1 serve away from the title.
Yeah,
an ace from Federer.
3 sets to love. 6-3, 6-1, 6-4.
Champion for an 8th time.
Wimbledon 2018.
Finishes it off. Punches the air in celebration.
Coming soon across the BBC.
Across the UK.
This is BBC 5 Live with Stephen Nolan.
Good evening. We're starting tonight looking at a big problem facing the 2 richest regions of the world. What do Europe and the United States do with the millions of migrants trying to cross its borders? Earlier this week, President Trump bowed to public pressure and reversed a migration policy that saw the separation of families. It came after international fury, a shelter worker quitting, and audio emerging of children in tears at a migrant detention centre.
Image of this country that you want out there, children?
The image that I want of this country is an immigration system that secures our borders and upholds our humanitarian ideals.
A group of siblings, of Brazilian siblings, who were huddled together, crying bitterly. I was supposed to translate to them that they were going to be separated. And I, at that point, decided, no, I cannot do that.
We're signing an executive order. I consider to be a very important executive order. It's about keeping families together while at the same time being sure that we have a very powerful, very strong border, and border security will be equal, if not greater, than previously.
Meanwhile, in Europe, a row has erupted between Italy and Malta over who should accept a stranded migrant rescue ship carrying over 200 people. Our reporter Gavin Lee has been on board the boat.
It's been out at sea since Wednesday afternoon from the port of Valencia, going towards the Libyan coast now, and after that extraordinary week in which the Italian government said no, the 630 migrants couldn't come ashore in Sicily, and the Interior Minister Matteo Salvini said that they were not welcome in future NGO boats because they were an effective taxi service for migrants. Well, now this ship is going back out to sea, and we've already heard of another ship that's had the same thing, the Lifeline, picking up migrants at sea, the Italians saying no as well. Let me bring in Antoine Laurent, the operations manager for SOS Méditerranée.
Well, of course, we're not a taxi service. We're just here to provide an answer to the people in distress. People are unsafe at sea. The safety is not ensured because there is no proper rescue capacities. So NGOs are here to fill a gap and to provide medical rescue service to those people in danger. That's all, nothing else.
So, are some EU countries and the United States right to be getting so tough on migration, or should the two richest regions in the world be doing more to welcome the millions of people searching for better lives? Who is getting this right? What do you think tonight? 08085 909 693. Let's start by taking a closer look at the issue in the United States, for example. Tom Javits is Vice President for Immigration Policy at the Center for American Progress think tank. Hello to you, Tom. Evening, Tom. Okay, we'll see if we can get Tom in a second or two. I guess it means it's a good opportunity for us to pick up some of our calls that are coming out already tonight. Graham in Leeds. Hello, Graham.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hi. So, what way do you see this? If you think about it, right across Europe now, and indeed now in the United States, look at how far up the agenda immigration is.
Well, it's not just how far up the agenda; it's how far up the political reality is. If you look at the recent elections in Germany and the difficulties Merkel's had of putting together a government. It's because of the anti-immigration vote. The largest opposition party, I believe now, is an anti-immigration party. There's been a 92% rise in violent crime in Germany, according to Reuters, due almost entirely to the migrants that have gone into Germany. We've got democratically elected governments being opposed by NGOs who are operating a taxi system. People don't want them. There are certain groups that seem to want to impose refugees on our societies.
Does that not sound,
we don't want them.
Does that not sound callous to you, Graham? We don't want them.
Well, you may think that, but you see, charity begins at home, as far as I'm concerned. And it's whenever we get these floods of migrants brought in by public school Oxbridge types, it's always the poorest working classes who suffer with lower education for the children, doctor's surgery. The whole thing, the whole quality of life comes down. And I don't think that's fair. Now, if we carry on the way that we're doing, the entire structure, the entire stability of Europe will disappear.
So you're actually saying to me you don't think we're being tough enough?
Well, it's not a question of being tough. It's a question of being realistic. I don't believe in separating kids from parents. I just think that's cruel on the children. I think that was an appalling thing that Trump did. But nevertheless, arresting them, turning them around and sending them back, yes.
Have a listen to Robin Hull. Hello, Rob.
Hello?
Hello, Rob. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, well, nobody knows why these people are on the move, the migrants and that. But, all these politicians are talking tough and they're treating the numbers like it's some sort of game. Why can't people have a bit of compassion for a change? I'm not saying you can take it all in migrants on, but surely there's got to be some question as to why these people are moving in the first place.
Well, let's take another opportunity to talk to Tom Javits, the Vice President for Immigration Policy at the Centre for the American Progress think tank. Hello, Tom.
Hi, thanks so much.
Hello there. There you are. And Sebastian Gorka, former advisor to President Trump. Hello, Sebastian.
Hi there.
Good evening. Tom, let's start with you. Describe the situation in the States then, as you see it, Tom.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of months ago, the President, his Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security made a policy decision that they were going to begin prosecuting everyone who was crossing the border between the ports of entry, regardless of whether or not they were asylum seekers. And as a result of that policy decision, several thousand children were taken from their parents at and along our border because the children simply couldn't go with their parents into criminal custody. That wasn't the entirety of the policy decision, though, because individuals who were actually going directly to our official ports of entry with their families and requesting asylum also, in certain circumstances, were having their children taken from them. And so you were seeing people both between the ports of entry and people at the ports of entry requesting protection, and our policy, rather than putting them into a system that would adjudicate whether or not they are, in fact, bona fide asylum seekers, was to take away their children and transfer them into the custody of another government agency, which frankly flew them around the country. And we're now in a situation where we have 2,300 plus children who the government simply, at this point, doesn't seem to have a plan to reunite with their families.
And this, Sebastian, is a much bigger discussion than the children, but he has so many advisors around him. How did he not see that to separate children would be a PR disaster, Sebastian?
We're not interested in public relations. We're interested in rule of law. As the White House has made clear, if you are an asylum seeker, there are more than half a dozen places south of the border where you can officially apply for asylum and you will not be separated from your children. So these individuals that you're talking about, or that your last guest talked about, are those people who are illegally crossing over the border. And there's a bigger issue. There's a humanitarian issue. Of the 12,000 children now at the immigration centers in the U.S., think of this one statistic. It's shocking. It's mind-numbing. Of the 12,000, 10,000 of these children came across the border without their parents. Their parents sent them on incredibly dangerous journeys, hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles, risking their lives in the hands of human traffickers, coyotes, and smugglers. So this issue isn't about the Trump administration. Guess what? This policy didn't start on January the 20th, 2017. This immigration policy, which has been full of loopholes and problems, has been an issue for decades, and the president is trying to fix it.
Well, that's completely, hang on, that is completely untrue. The policy change that this administration made, which is unprecedented not only in American history, but I would wager to say is something we do not see anywhere else in the world, and I'm glad to see Seb Gorka acknowledge that no country to our south would ever do what this administration decided to do, is taking children from their parents. That was not done as a policy matter from any prior administration.
You don't know what you're talking about. Try and cross the border into Mexico illegally and see what happens to you, my friend, because you will be separated and you will be put in handcuffs.
What do you think these individuals did when they passed through Mexico in the first place? First and foremost, there's been a rapid increase in asylum claims, not only in the United States, but in Mexico and in every single other country in Central America over the last 5 years. This is a regional hemispheric challenge.
That people are coming from Latin America, from Central America, and they're crossing through other countries, including Mexico, and not requesting asylum there. Why is that? If you are seeking safety and asylum, why don't you stop in the first safe place? Your story doesn't hold true. It's another left-wing narrative, and it's just about attacking the president. But we're used to it. It's okay.
I think it's surprising. Sepp Gorka is given a platform on BBC to spread these views, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
it's called Tom a democracy, and it's called free speech, and he's entitled to a view on the BBC as much as you are, Tom. Right. Sebastian Gorka, when the president signed that executive order, you might try to spin it all you like, but that was him saying, I got it wrong, and I'm reversing it.
Well, look, he's a compassionate man, whether he's meeting with the victims of the Parkland shooting or whether he's meeting with the angel mothers yesterday who were separated from their children permanently. Not for a few months, not for a few years, but whose children were murdered by illegal immigrants. A compassionate man
who had to be pressurised by the media and the public to sign that executive order, which he could have signed on day one.
Well, he doesn't
need to sign. There's no executive order the president needs to sign, for starters. It was their decision through a policy memorandum by the Attorney General and by the Secretary of Homeland Security to start the policy of separating families. The executive order does nothing to stop the separation of families, and the president, the very day after he signed the executive order, said that the policy was a limited policy that at the end of the day was going to ultimately lead to more separations.
But Tom, what do you think?
At the end of the day, this is Congress's responsibility. They have to fix the laws. And when the left, when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi obstruct that and say we're not going to help to fix it, guess who's on the wrong side of this issue? It's not the president.
Tom, what do you think is going on, though? The President Trump had a significant amount of support for what he was doing. Is there an immigration crisis now, both in America and Europe, Tom?
Well, I mean, as a general matter, I'll step back and say one of the things you said at the outset of this was that there are great challenges in Europe and the U.S. with millions of people crossing the border. That is certainly true in Europe. There is a much larger and substantial refugee crisis in Europe. It's obviously, sort of the greatest of our times. The challenge in the United States is minuscule by comparison. We're talking about several tens of thousands of children and families who are coming here. Our border, according to the Department of Homeland Security, under this administration, just last year, is more secure than it has ever been in our history, and we are at border crossings that are at basically 50-year lows. So we do not have a border crisis in this country. We do have a very real regional security problem with Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, countries that have some of the highest rates of homicide, femicide, and child homicide in the world. If you look at non-conflict zones, those people have, for the last 5 years, been in increasing numbers, leaving those three countries and requesting asylum in every other country in our region. Yes, elsewhere in Central America. Yes, in Mexico. And yes, also in the United States. And one of the major reasons why we have to be working with our partners rather than alienating those relationships is that the only way we're going to actually stabilize this flow is by working together to bring greater citizen security to those people.
0885 909 693. Here's Tony in St. Austell, Cornwall. What do you think, Tony?
I think it's a fascinating discussion, and I think the real problem is that all of the political establishment in both countries is locked in on this focus of, all these people are coming in, and how are we going to cope, and we've got to find ways of keeping them out. And they're not really looking at the problem sensibly. So what we've got is a definite climatic change. We've got deserts expanding. So Africa and Mexico and all those areas around the equator, they're suffering. They haven't got the money to put in really good irrigation systems and things like this. They haven't got the money to put in good desalination plants on the coastline to get good fresh water. They have a fantastic supply of sunshine, which would be brilliant for solar power and also for producing all the fruit and veg we want in the rest of the world, because it's perfect agricultural conditions with the right irrigation. And what we should be doing is what the Romans did. And this is 2,000 years ago.
What the Romans did?
The Romans built an irrigation system in North Africa. The whole of North Africa supplied the wheat for the Roman Empire on irrigated land, which was invested from North.
What on earth has this got? What has this got to do with the immigration crisis we're talking about?
Right, absolutely. Because if you did that, the people of Africa wouldn't come to Europe. They'd stay in North Africa, which would be incredibly rich because it'd be producing all the food for Europe. And similarly, if you did the same thing around the Mexican coastlines, rather like California, you'd have the same situation there. So no one would be wanting to come.
Okay, so in other words, Sebastian Gorka,
invest.
Thank you. Improve, Sebastian Gorka, the lot of countries like Africa. Invest in them, as Tony is saying.
Yeah, well, first things first, nobody has the right to come to somebody else's countries and become their citizen. Nobody has the right to become an American. So that, number one, if you don't have sovereignty, if you don't have borders, you don't have a nation. There's a very good reason why the British refused to join the Schengen Treaty when that was mandated upon all the nations of the EU, but they decided to keep border controls. That's a very, very interesting model. Secondly, the president was absolutely right. When he pulled us out of the disastrous Paris Climate Accords, he said, guess what? I was elected by the citizens of Pittsburgh, not of Paris. We want to help where possible, but the idea that America is responsible for all the people of the world and has to build irrigation for them, that's just insanity. America has absorbed more immigrants than any other country in the world. To criticize us is absolutely outrageous.
You have all the money.
And it's our money to use on our citizens.
No, you could invest it and make loads of money out of it. You could make massive amount of money, of profit out of
Tony,
it if you invested it.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. I want to also have a look at, because we're talking here about big problems facing the two richest regions in the world, aren't we? And we should really focus on Europe as well. We heard earlier from our reporter on board on the stranded migrant rescue ship Lifeline. Earlier this month, both Italy and Malta refused to allow the migrant rescue ship Aquarius to dock with Médecins Sans Frontières on board. Hasiba Haj Sahari is the Humanitarian Affairs Advisor for Médecins Sans Frontières, in other words, Doctors Without Borders. Hasiba, good evening to you.
Hello.
Hello, Hasiba. Is it true to say the EU is getting more hardline on immigration?
A number of EU member states have become more hardline. The EU is still trying to adhere to its international obligations. Your previous speaker were talking a lot about the rule of law. The rule of law means also upholding international law. And it is, there is such a thing in international law as the Convention on Refugees. People who are fleeing wars and persecutions are entitled to international protection. So, yes, we have very difficult debates in Europe. There's the perception that there's a lot of so-called economic migrants and not refugees. And I'd like to call for discussion based on facts. It is true that we have mixed flows of people. It includes refugees, asylum seekers, and people who are fleeing poverty, those who need protection, those who are fleeing wars should be able to seek safety and to seek asylum. And that really we would need to preserve at any cost. The other thing
how vulnerable are these people?
They're extremely vulnerable. So on the Aquarius, for example, where we had 630 people last week, you have people who are fleeing extreme level of violence in Libya. We're talking torture, we're talking rape, we're talking extortion, people are being shot. And that we know because we treat these people medically. We're talking also about people who might have fled conflict, so people from South Sudan, from Darfur, people fleeing persecution in Eritrea. That's a reality. The other very concrete reality is that whoever passes through Libya, regardless of why he or she has left their country of origin, is facing in Libya arbitrary detention, violence, torture, rape. So to not let these people try to flee the situation of Libya is dramatic. The other number that I'd like to give you is that just for 2018, more than 600 people have drowned in Dead Sea between Libya and Italy. That's why NGOs are trying to be present at sea to do search and rescue. And I'm sure that among all you speakers, we could all agree that in the 21st century, in a sea that is so used that like the Mediterranean Sea, nobody should be drowning these days.
Sebastian Gorka, when you hear that description of what those people are fleeing, torture and rape, Sebastian, do you not have sympathy for their plight and understand why they're running away, why they're trying to find safe harbour?
No, nobody has to virtue signal to me. My parents were refugees. My parents escaped to a refugee camp from a dictatorship. But go to the camp outside Calais, go to Marseille, tell me that the majority of those people are actually political asylum seekers. They're not. This is one of the reasons Brexit happened. This is just absolutely fallacious. And I'll quote you a source that is very difficult to dispute. I took my family to the biggest refugee camp in Jordan last Christmas, to the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan. And the Muslim chief of police of that camp, without prompting, said the following: "This is sad. This is a human catastrophe, but the best thing we can do is to solve the problems for these people in the countries where they come from." He said to me, a Muslim Jordanian police officer, it makes no sense at all to take these people further and further away from their countries of origin.
And Hasiba, that's the point, isn't it? Would it not be better off investing money and energy into the countries where these people are coming from?
We absolutely do not disagree on this, but let's take the camp al-Zaatari in Jordan. Is the gentleman suggesting that people should be now going back to Syria, that we should be now trying to fix Syria? Yes, of course, we need to be addressing the conflict in Syria to find a solution where civilians are not targeted. In the meantime, these people are entitled to protection. And I know we're focusing this discussion on the US and Europe. However, the largest the countries where we have the largest number of refugees are Africa, Uganda, are Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, Bangladesh, with almost 1 million Rohingyas now.
Yeah, now from the U.S. perspective too, I will say, I mean, again, those numbers, so dwarf what the U.S. is facing that I think it brings context to the reaction that this administration took. But I'll also say that if you look, again, we also don't disagree with the idea that the most durable solution to prevent refugee flows is to not produce refugees in the first place, and that means increasing citizen security in those countries, in those regions. But the approach that I will say that Donald Trump is taking, and this is an approach obviously you're seeing in Europe, we are seeing this in Canada, we're seeing this with Mexico, and with countries and allies around the world, is to strain and alienate our relationships with other countries around the world that could be partners in trying to help increase citizen security around the world. So when you look at something like, for instance, the United States, for instance, earlier this year set in motion a process to take away legal status from 250,000 Salvadorans and Hondurans who have been living in the country lawfully for 20 years. The idea that we're going to now kick out 250,000 people who have been here for 20 years and send them back to those countries, and then it won't have devastating further consequences to
if you cross illegally, you're not lawfully in the country. This is the big difference. You're mixing up asylum seekers with economic migrants, and this is the dirty little secret. This is why you have Brexit.
I'm not confused.
No, you are. You're mixing up El Salvadoran illegal immigrants who are here for economic reasons with refugees. That's a class category. Your taxonomy is absolutely flawed. You're arguing one thing, but you're talking about another. It's not right. These people, you cross the border, you are committing a crime.
Except the laws in reality don't match up with what you're saying at all.
Go ahead, Hasiba.
But also,
hold on, Hasiba.
Anybody who crosses a border doesn't lose legally or illegally. It doesn't lose the very core human rights that are attached to every individual, to any human being. It's not because you cross a border in an irregular manner that you can be treated as a subhuman, and that is unfortunately one of the realities that MSF is dealing with. We are a medical organization. We are treating these people in their countries of origin where there are conflicts. We are treating them in the countries of transit and also at the border of Europe or other countries, and we see the human cost.
Graham writes to me tonight. He says, Stephen, a long-term plan to reduce economic migrants is to make their own countries better places to live. They want jobs and homes and hope. We need to trade with them and give them opportunities for employment employment. Trade, not aid. Jobs, not bombs. Here's Pam on the line. Hello, Pam.
Hi. I was just watching the ITV news now, and some boat was landing somewhere, and 3/4, if not more, were men, young boys. There's hardly any women, children on the boats. And my worry was when they were coming into this country, all these young men, they were classing them as children, but they were in the late teens, early 20s. And where have they gone to now? You know, terrorists, I call them. We don't know where they've gone to.
Well, what's your proof for that, Pam?
Well, you know, these where have they all gone? Do they know where they've gone?
Sorry, your proof for labelling human beings on a boat as terrorists.
No, I'm not saying that.
You just said terrorists, I call them, is what you just said.
People who, they're nearly all men and young men. Where are the women and the children?
Well, the women, let me explain maybe, because I am working on some of these boats. The women and the children are usually in shelters. We disembark them in differently from the rest of the group. We have very clear procedures. Women might have been even more vulnerable. Some might have been exposed to rape. So women and children are usually inside. The most vulnerable, the medical cases remain inside the ship. And the young
what I saw on the ITV news now was an open boat with lots and lots of people on board. And there were about 70-80% were men and young men. Hardly any women and young children. I mean,
well, I think Hasiba's just explained to you why that would look like that.
But does this country and other European countries, do they keep records of where these young men?
Again, the first thing that happens, so if you have somebody who's rescued at sea, the first thing that happens, we're in contact with the authorities. So if we disembark in Italy, for example, the first people to get on the boat are the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Health. Every person is going to be recorded, fingerprints are going to be taken,